There we go. All right, here we go, everybody. Sit back, relax, enjoy. It's time for the show in 3, 2, 1. Core! Well, looky here. What do we have here? Another episode of Core, and welcome to it. This is Core, the only gaming-focused podcast with longer than average running times than all 3 Lord of the Rings extended edition films combined. Did you guys know that? That's how long ago.
Well, if you count our entire oeuvre, it's pretty easy. But if you're just referring to a single episode being longer than one extended edition, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like if you took Return of the King extended edition, that's about how long our episodes are. Think of it that way.
This 45-minute a week podcast that you pitched us on.
Yeah, remember that? I was like, you guys, we could do it for 45 minutes. It'd be quick.
It's going to be 45 minutes.
In and out.
In and out, which is real fast.
I think I might be the problem.
No, you're not the problem, but you do inspire longer discussion. I'll say that for Bo.
Well, I'm just judging based on the fact that I managed to put together 4.5 hours of show for the thing. I still
for your
by the way,
show.
Subscribe to Patreon if you want to find out what 4.5 hours of just Bo sounds like. Mm-hmm. I'm delirious at the end of it. I actually had to listen back and I was like, I can shave off that last hour. It's kind of embarrassing at that point. Like it's hey, it is what it is. People like it, whatever.
Yeah. I think part of it is we're 3 guys with stuff to say, and we make sure everybody has room to say it, and it's just how the show is what it wants to be. It has its own.
Let me just say I'm part of the problem/solution.
There you go. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, I told Scott, and I hadn't podcasted with Bo, so I didn't even know what Bo was. But just between Scott and myself, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to sit down and be able to just talk for 45 minutes with another human being.
Well, you thought it'd be shorter? You thought it'd be less?
No, I thought it would be much longer.
Oh. Okay.
I remember what I went through when I was doing Azeroth Roundtable with Ben, and I told him, hey, we're going to be an hour long, no matter what hour we cut it off.
Yeah.
And I remember how hard it was to do that. And so 45 minutes with an additional host.
Yeah.
No,
is that why you had like camera off John time? Like basically the show Azeroth Roundtable was an hour, but whenever I've watched / been on it, you turn the cameras off and it's like you're getting ready to go to bed, but the conversation still lasts another hour. Oh, it's usually John going like, "All right, guys, listen, I got something to bitch about.
Yeah,
let's go."
No, maybe it's all of us. It's everybody. It's none of us. It's all of us. It's everything. It's nothing. That's what we do here on the show. But we are here to bring you some gaming news. We're going to talk about the games we played. We got all kinds of fun stuff lined up. So sit back and enjoy the following.
You were on.
That's the wrong clip. That's the wrong one too. We'll do it now. Why not? I'll switch them up. Who cares? We don't have any hard fast rules. Hey, there was a huge Pokemon leak, and it's a little weird. This Pokemon leak. I saw this thing land, and I went, "What's going on?" A couple of nights ago, kind of late in the night, Pokemon developer Game Freak was hit with a massive data breach, and the company seems to have prepared for it. Though it is, shared a statement a few days before the leaks began. But they seem to be somewhat prepared for it. Game Freak apologized to employees affected by the hack and said that it worked to prevent it from happening. John, what do you think are the craziest revelations from this? Because it isn't simply like, oh, these are the 2 Pokemon games coming in here.
Before he answers, can I just say how I discovered Pokemon was going to be in the news?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I saw a tweet with, P. Diddy and a Pokemon in it, and someone was saying 2024 is real wild. That's all, and I'm like, what's going on? Anyways, go ahead, John.
Did that really happen? There's something with P. Diddy and Pokemon? I missed that entirely. Was he?
No, just that like this year has been a collection of dudes getting in trouble for not great. Well, sex crimes basically, but there's no such thing as a good sex crime. I didn't think that sentence through properly.
I know what you meant.
It's bad. Anyways, let John answer. I just wanted to say how I discovered it.
That's all right. Nice. Over to John. John, what do you think is the big revelation here?
You know how in Greek myth sometimes Zeus would turn into an animal and do it with somebody?
Definitely gonna get perverted.
Yeah, it'll get weird now. Yeah, like that was Zeus's thing. He was Hercules came from a forbidden relationship with a human woman. He was always doing shit like that. So sure.
What if I told you that some of the details in this Pokemon leak, supposed, because we already have people saying it wasn't real, it wasn't true. Hey, I read it on the internet. It has to be true. Included some Pokemon procreation of that sort.
Oh, really? Like,
Yes.
give me an example. Like
a little worse than that, though. We're just scratching the surface, but continue.
I missed that part. Give me more.
Man, I don't know if we need to do.
Do you want to do? I'll do it if you don't want to. I'll jump on the grenade, dude. I'll take the.
You'll take the brunt.
Okay, look up. Do your Google search and look up Typhlosion. Typhlosion.
You don't know?
No, I missed this bit. I didn't. I heard about some game leak name.
Okay, names. Hang on. Let's actually just put right up front. Trigger warning, guys.
All right.
Actual trigger warning.
If you don't want to think about Pokemons and people doing it,
yeah.
This next chunk of the show is not for you.
It's not just people doing it. It's bad stuff. It's
All right. Well, let's find out.
Lolita level things, let's say.
So even the Forbes article started like this. The first line is comma, I don't even know where to start here. That's how the guy starts the Forbes article.
Well, it's
not good. It's you know what, Alice in Wonderland. For those who are going to skip, don't want to be a part of it. Just think of that's not H.G. Wells that wrote it.
Lewis Carroll.
And Alice in Wonderland, may have liked Alice a little too much. The story around that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that kind of a thing. Okay, guys, but.
Okay, well, here's an excerpt.
Not public documents, but like in-house lore about some of the Pokemon, specifically Typhlosion. And anyways,
Typhlosion's he looks like he's got like explosion on his back. He's blue on top.
He's got a fire bag. He looks like what is he? Is he like a ferret?
Let me pull him up here, chat.
What is Typhlosion?
I don't know what he is.
Webster's dictionary defines Typhlosion as what animal?
Yeah, what is he supposed to be? It's like some kind of badger looking thing. Maybe I don't know what he is. But here's the deal. Here's the quote in the leak. A long time ago, when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was unclear, ... And then it starts to explain. Let's see. A young girl is tricked by shape-shifting into Bakufan, or Typhlosion, into thinking he is a human. Eventually, she agrees, apparently she has a child with him, and she's called his wife. So this creature here, husband to young girl, all right? His father...
Not woman or young lady, but girl.
Girl, whatever that means.
Yep.
Her father eventually comes and kills Bakfun. And when she returns to the village, she and her half Pokemon child is teased by the men in the village, who at one point cover it in fur skins. Then they run into the forest and are never seen again. There's a particularly nightmarish passage from the father, which goes like this when he goes to find his daughter. Quote, "You have broken the branch. Your father will be here soon. Now I'm going to do something bad to your father. If you kill me, you can have my eyes, my voice, and my heart, and I want you to build a fire where I was killed and let it burn. And I want you to sing this song until it burns out." The girl said, "Please stop. You're going to kill my father. Please stop. You let yourself be killed. Goodbye. We will never meet again." Anyway, that's just the stuff that isn't like nasty yet. That's just like the weird freaking Old Testament bullshit.
I think you're missing the little girl has a baby with a...
Oh, no, I got that. I definitely got that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they spared us some details there.
no, for sure. But it's,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I didn't need to read anymore. So if there's more, my sense is this isn't the only sort of tale, but it's the one that at least has been making the rounds. So,
and you guys think, John,
children's product, by the way.
there's a bunch of stuff saying that it isn't true, but according to this Forbes article, this is taken right out of the leak. So either the stuff in the leak is fake, meaning the company's just screwing around, or somebody in there had screwed around and just put some false lore
I mean,
in
like
there.
that's the thing is like you're taking information that a bunch of people. We don't fully know the source. We know a leak happened.
Yeah.
We know this is information that got pulled out of the leak. Whether this is going to be in the very next very exciting Pokemon game, or whether this is something that was on somebody's hard drive because they really like Tysplosion, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, who knows, right? Like, we don't know. The data breach, a bunch of unannounced projects, development files, things like that. There is evidence that they're working on an MMO of some kind, for example. Like, there was a lot of data in here. But it turns out it doesn't matter what's in there, because if you have Typhlosion turned into a human and mated with another person and then threatened to kill her father on your work computer, that gets all the news.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. I understand having like lore Bibles at a company where you're making a bunch of IP stories and stuff. Like they have this at, they have this at Blizzard. I assume Wizards has some stuff like this where things that may never reach the public, you've got some real back end story, origin story.
One of your employees wrote a real effed up story.
Yeah.
That's great, Bill. But just file it away. And,
Put that under.
Like, that's the thing, is we don't know where it came from. For like, whether this is part of some lore Bible they have for Pokemon, or whether it's some developer wrote some fanfic on their computer, and their hard drive was part of what was hacked. I don't know. We don't know.
The subtext too is that it is Japan, and the stuff that makes it to print is pretty questionable, let alone in mangas and stuff like that. So I mean, there's that element. It is a kid's property, so I think a lot of people who might be super into innocent, cute Pokemon, just might be like, okay, that's not a good look for a child's.
Oh no, definitely not.
But,
I remember very vividly, and I've never quite been able to get this out of my head, but there was a documentary about how business and kind of corporate culture worked in Japan, and it was pretty wide ranging. It was everything from car companies to just all sorts of stuff. And there was this scene where the current CEO, he's not there anymore, but the CEO of Nissan Motors, Nissan, the Pathfinder, and the Nissan, whatever, the Rogue, all those cars. You know who I mean. Nissan, big Japanese car maker. He's on a train on his way to the office reading a copy of his favorite comic. His favorite comic book, manga, which you would pick up on his way to work at the stand there, is a comic called Rape Man, which was all about a character whose whole thing was just running around raping everybody. That's the whole story. And he's just in this suit, reading this thing, flipping pages, no big deal. And there's like everybody in that car has got some form of like hardcore porn art, and they're all flipping through it. And I never quite could get that out of my head. I'm not even passing judgment here. I don't know how the culture works with this sort of content over there. I'm just saying that was weird. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and let's also keep in mind, one of the very first things I did with this was compare it to Greek myth. It's not like this is unheard of in art and literature, and from multiple cultures, not just one.
Yeah.
So, we have no idea what this is. Do I think that the next Pokemon game is going to contain any of this whatsoever? No.
Yeah.
Like, let's maybe be a little real.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not funny to read about that.
Oh yeah, no. Can you imagine Nintendo announcing the latest Pokemon game, and it's like Pokemon Emerald and Silver with the origin story you're all waiting for.
Typhlosion edition.
Typhlosion, and he'll be on the cover. Oh,
I mean,
boy.
the comedy is thinking about all the people at the company scrambling, like, because it's such a effed up. Like, why didn't we delete this?
Yeah.
Like someone wrote a messed up story. It's not part of the brand. We're not using it. Who thought it was a good idea just to hold on to it because it's a leak lie? You know what I mean? Like, just stuff like that. Like, if you're working at a company right now and some creatives got a little too crazy and everyone said that guy's weird and he wrote some messed up stuff, you might just want to delete it at this point.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I find the content not funny. There's, whether it's part of myth or art, I feel like it's a subject like we probably don't really want to get into. But it's a company that sells children's products, and they had a really imagine waking up in the morning and they're like, "Oh, they found our rape stories." It's just like, why do you have them? Like,
it is a weird thing to hold on to. There was also a lot of personal info, so company email addresses, names, some of the contract employees, like people that aren't even at the company, their info got leaked. None of it was like addresses or any of that, but it's a pretty big doxing, generally speaking. So that's not cool either. And they claim in their statement, which has been translated here, they have measures to prevent recurrence. They say we have rebuilt and re-inspected the servers and will ensure that this incident does not occur again through further improvements to our security measures. Okay, sure. I mean, servers get hacked and you have to keep up with it more than that, but whatever, that's fine. This is a statement. Yeah, pretty wild. And for anybody who is looking for like the amazing lineup coming, most of what they leaked in terms of like game plans sound just like normal Pokemon release schedule. Like it didn't sound that crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem insane.
The MMO part, maybe that's interesting.
The real victims here are fans of Typhlosion,
Yeah.
whose Pokemon has now been canceled by the woke mob.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about Typhlosion, everybody? Are you going to...
The next game is him in a suit on the cover. Holding a single red rose.
I wonder if there's
I think the next step is an apology video on YouTube, right? Typhlosion.
Maybe Typhlosion himself, yeah.
Someone should do that. If there's a free idea for you there.
Yeah.
I don't think Game Freak's gonna do it, so get your Typhlosion cosplay and a ukulele and hit YouTube up.
A ukulele. Why is that?
Yeah.
Why?
That was a very specific reference. If you know, you know.
There's a YouTube creator who was she was grooming kids.
Oh, that.
And, she, instead of apologizing, she's saying people are like mean with the ukulele, and everyone's like, that was the worst apology in the history of apologies.
I haven't seen one of those videos where they actually are good. They never apologize right. They don't know how. We had one this week for the very prominent voice in our somewhat circles. He did a terrible apology. It was freaking terrible. And he immediately made a comment in the YouTube comments, essentially of reaffirming what he had said that was bad in the first place. They're all bad at it, especially when they're big. When you get big, you know what's great about us? We get to stay just kind of down here. We stay out of all that. We keep our head out of the clouds.
Careful.
I'm just saying.
Hubris.
Never say never.
You invite controversy. Controversy finds you.
I'm the most transparent human ever. They will find nothing.
I think the real strategy is let's not do any sex crimes.
Yeah.
And let's not get into politics. And we're good.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
There's a whole bunch of people now yelling at the podcast.
There's a couple of categories on the internet that are shaky. I just kind of noticed.
I guarantee there are people yelling at the podcast that Bo brings up politics here and there. But I'm telling you, it's because Canadians don't have the same point of view we have, though. You guys just have a different perspective.
I only want to bring it up enough so that I can make some laughs and then get out. You know what I mean? Like just pop in and be like, this dumbass, and then get out.
Like a lake run. Poop, get out. Right? Exactly. Always goes back to lake runs.
We're here to have a good time, folks.
Yeah.
Lake runs made it all the way to last week tonight, so
that's true.
It's doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still say
someone photoshopped my face on it, right? I wasn't. I have that.
Did they? I don't have that. I want to see that. Did somebody do that?
Oh, it was in the core. I don't know where it went to. Hang on, it's on my Zitter.
If you have it, your Zitter. What the hell's that? What's Zitter?
X and Twitter combined is Zitter.
Zitter. I like that.
I mean, whatever the hell you want to call it.
No, it's fine. I thought maybe there was a file cloud thing called Zitter, and
I will post. Here, I'll copy the image, post in Discord. There you go. Enjoy.
Let's take a look here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, dude! I would buy.
I mean, I legit thought it was me for a minute, but
yeah.
I stole my lake run idea, like everyone else. Take my ideas. Don't give me credit.
This happens a lot to us, though. I don't want to ascribe it to anything, but if it happens enough times, you have to start thinking like, is this stuff is somebody else taking it and then running with it? Then it takes fire. Like why is this so specifically uniquely like what you were telling us? That's weird.
I think awesome people listen to our show, like writers and great creative guys and stuff, and it just gets into the ether, and then they're in a writing room and they have to come up with a joke, and they forget about us, but they remember the joke, and then it goes up on the.
It's really weird.
It goes up.
Yeah. Carlac with her heart. I'm telling you, they're stealing stuff. Well, anyway, let's move on from that story. Good luck, Pokemon. I hope everything goes your way. You guys really are game freaks.
I did tag John Oliver about this. He hasn't.
Oh, you
responded.
did? He didn't respond. Yeah.
Yeah. Not asking for credit, but just seeing if he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy we did the bit about." Nothing.
You know, I was just kidding, but maybe Game Freak. You know, that last name it's Freak. Maybe they're freaks. You know, maybe they
Game Freak. Well, what is that?
They're freaky. They do freaky shit.
But they're freaks for games. It's not really.
Well, that's what we thought. We don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they're
we
freaks.
Thought we knew P Diddy.
No, I think everybody always knew P Diddy. I think that's.
Well, I mean, I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's
he
true.
Seemed like a rapper and like a guy to talk to if you want a record deal.
Yeah, and his parties were notorious, and it was like a good time for everybody.
And it was really mean for us to look at his name P Diddy and say, "Hey, that sounds like a diddler name."
Yeah, pity.
Don't be like that. Don't say mean things like that. It's untrue.
Yeah, it's P Diddy. He's your friend. He's your pal.
Turns out that he was hiding in plain sight.
Hey, there's a game we never play called XDefiant. In fact, I've been defiantly not playing it. Not really. I don't have any interest in it.
Came out really aggressive on this one, Scott. You're like, hey, here's a game nobody here likes.
I mean, I really just don't have any. I don't know. I have no desire to play it because I don't know. Games as a service. I'm kind of done with shooters.
Didn't
and
you
stuff.
try it, or were you just talking about it because it?
Well, I did. I tried the
ago.
other one that we played that was also an Ubisoft attempt at kind of stealing some Fortnite thunder. What was that called? Because that also got canceled. Do you remember that one? It was a whole other shooter. It wasn't XDefiant. It was.
I thought that was XDefiant.
Was it? Maybe it's the one I did play.
I thought it was.
It's the one where you were kind of in Tron. It was like you were in a Tron world, and you would kind of digitally like phase into the world and then fight and stuff. And when you died, you'd kind of de-res. Was that XDefiant? I remember very little about my time and whatever it is I played, but I thought it was a different Ubisoft canceled
shooter. Finals, right? You're thinking of something else.
Not the final. I like the finals, although I don't think the finals is doing that great, but the finals is fun. What's it called?
Well, it's another shooter in a crowded market full of shooters.
Ubisoft canceled shooter. Let me just see if I'm smoking crack here. Okay.
I swear it was XDefiant that you talked about, but I could be wrong.
I very well could have. It's entirely
XDefiant's the only one I'm aware of. Like nothing's jumping out.
Because I know they just canceled the Division Heartland one, which was a similar thing, but that's not what I'm thinking of. It was one that I played. That's not it. No plans to shut down.
Maybe we should just go back and what we played. How long ago would you have talked about it?
I don't know, dude. Freaking, you have to search for it.
Was it a team shooter? Ubisoft shooters.
Yeah, I just looked for that, and I'm not finding it.
They have Siege, which is, not really a shooter. It's like a tactical game, but still, it's got guns.
Canceled shooters. Let's see if there's just a list. Okay.
I feel like we're going to go a real long way around just to find out that it was XDefiant.
You might be right. John's instincts are probably right. I can't remember what I played. Maybe it was this. I just don't remember the name being the same. Weird. Anyway, there's just nothing unique about what I played. If that's what this is, then that was my reason for bouncing. But anyway, they claim, despite all the rumors that they're shutting it down, the producer says it's not true. They're not shutting it down. So the news right now is all about producer claims it's not true, and they still have year 2 planned. According to Ubisoft's Mark Rubin, who is the head of the game.
Oh, they aren't shutting it down?
They are not shutting it down. Let's see. Wow. Turmoil from known leaker Sean Weber posted a tweet claiming the game is already dead. Well, dude, if I freaked out every time someone on Twitter said dead game, nothing would be running. There'd be no games. They all do this. But anyway, he refuted the claim and the rumors by saying, to be crystal clear, there are no plans, in caps, no plans, to shut down after Season 4. I've literally been in meetings as of last week to discuss the Year 2 plans. So they claim they're moving forward.
I don't know. I'm at a point where, with all this stuff, too, is that I wouldn't entirely discount shenanigans on this front because you do see games getting canceled. It is validating if you have a certain worldview.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're organizing on a 4chan or Kiwi Farms type site or even Reddit, but that whole thing, you manifest what you put out there. Yeah. So you could just be like, World of Warcraft's doing terribly and the numbers are going down. Nobody's playing it. It's terrible. And if a bunch of people believe you and signal boost that shit, then a bunch of people will cancel. They're like, oh shit, this is a dead game. I don't want to be here. Blizzard sucks. And they leave.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I wonder if people doing stuff like this aren't doing it just to F with the developers.
Yeah,
of
at least some of it. I know some of that's
there's
true.
some intentionality behind it. I can't prove it. It's just me thinking, but I'm like,
I had a guy on YouTube comments after my Greg Street show this week where we talked a lot about Endgame, and it came up in the discussion and talking about testing hard for Endgame and having lots of Endgame ready before you launch, so you're not kind of left with a dead Endgame before players leave or whatever. And it was a good conversation. And this guy wrote,
great show. I listened to it. It was good.
Thanks. He says if there's Endgame, then it's a non-starter. The game is dead. And I went, I'm sorry. If there is Endgame, then you're out, and the game is stupid. And he tried to explain. It made no sense. But
no, not even that. It's that the game will die. Like he's like, I can see into the future, and I know the games industry, and for some reason, I'm not employed in consultation.
And never have
people
been
with their games.
Yeah, never been there.
But I'm
never
telling
worked.
you right now, if this has Endgame, it will die. It will not make money and be a dead game.
Which makes no sense to me. You're talking about it as live service game. Endgame is required. I don't care if it's an MMO or a shooter or whatever. Something to do after you've maxed out whatever the main thing is compulsory. You have to have it. Like, what else are you going to do? No, I prefer a game where it's an empty hell space with nothing to do when I get up there. Like,
it's just such a non-nuanced conversation because not all games as a service require an end game.
Yeah.
So we're what you're talking about is a model of game, like the WoW model.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what innovations Ghost is going to have. They've already talked about their different zones to make it more like, what do you know about this game that makes you so certain?
They know nothing.
And he's being transparent about it. And still, he's like, if there's Endgame, this game will die. It's like, you realize they're trying to do something fresh and new with the genre, right? So
yeah. Plus, it's just a dumb thing to say because what kind of game do you think this is? It's an MMO. They want to keep people on the hook. How do you do that? You have things to do when you hit max level.
Yes.
That's it. Simple as that.
There's I don't know. Unless his only MMO is like hardcore WoW. So him and talk about dead game. Like there's a population of people playing it, but it's not like million. It's not in the millions.
When I replied, I said,
so.
maybe this wasn't YouTube. Maybe it was, I don't remember what it was, Threads maybe. But I basically said, okay, I'll bite, meaning I'll take your bait. Explain yourself. And then it was just nonsense after that. Yeah. So whatever. I don't know why I'm giving him more airtime now, but
it's just frustrating because that whole sort of thing is like if an idea catches on and gets signal boosted, then everyone believes no one's playing XDefiant probably that believed that, right?
Yeah.
So and there's probably more gamers, just the way the pie is divided up. There's more gamers not playing XDefiant than there are. Doesn't mean the game's not healthy.
Yeah.
In terms of subscribers or business, but a bunch of people go like, "Yeah, I'm not playing it. It must be a shit game. It's dead." And then 1,000 million reposts and news reports on leaks, and then it's like, then the people playing it, it's like reverse advertising, right? Like it's just like if people get embarrassed that they're spending their time in a game, they may stop. They may see the wisdom in that and stop and try other services. And so that's like a force if you are a games as a service developer that I would think you have to fight against. I always thought of online service games as like nightclubs. Like, I know you guys are not much of bar attendees, but for a period of my life I was, and it was always like, you want to go somewhere where the party's happening.
Sure.
You don't want to go to the place where there's like two guys and, like there, and it's like, unless you're looking for that vibe, which sometimes you are, but mostly you kind of want to go where it's hopping.
All right.
And games can feel that way, where if it's not like hopping, what am I doing?
If it ain't hopping,
that movie made, it's like this place dead.
Yeah. If this place isn't hopping, then Bo be stopping. Yeah. That's the phrase. Okay, can I say something about bars real quick? Because you might find this weird. I don't know. You tell me if you think this is weird. I love a bar. I don't drink, but I love bars. Okay. I love going.
Sorry, I'm talking more nightclubs.
Oh no, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying it's weird that I feel that way because I love a bar. And you'd think that as somebody who doesn't
Cheers bar,
any kind of bar, I love it. The music, loud, freaking smoky, hazy, something about the vibe of all that is right up my alley. But I don't drink. It's weird. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's a vibe. I mean, you could totally go to a bar and just get a Coke and talk to people. Like that's legit cool.
And I don't
Like,
even
it's-
like. I don't even
it's
like.
fine.
Normally, I don't like crowded places with tons of people. But for whatever reason, bars get a pass. I like it in there for some reason.
Yeah, you know, sometimes there's a good vibe, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, we all like a good party. Like, even though we're like maybe we don't want to go out and we're lazy about it. If you met the right party, there's a party out there that's your vibe for everybody, no matter how much, you know, whether it's a LAN party or, you know, like some kind of a party where people like, you know, you get along with and you can vibe with and you like it. It's a thing. It's just, you know, some of us, the more common ones, of course, are probably ones we don't prefer or whatever.
Yeah, that's
you know.
true.
I'm just saying from like a video game perspective, you are constantly having to make the case why your customer should spend time with you.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, we are selling novelty. We're selling entertainment. So something exciting. Is this an exciting place to be? Are the mechanics exciting? Are the challenges exciting? Is the buzz and community exciting? That's the place you want to be the most if you're doing games as a service.
Yeah.
So
What's happening right now, though, is I do think there's some part of this that's just people want to see Ubisoft burn, and it's a
they
bit
want
of
to
it.
see them all burn, honestly, at this point.
Well, there's a lot of that, but I mean, people have their favorite developers or whatever. But right now, it's in vogue, or the de jour thing to do is to pile on Ubisoft and set it aflame. And there's so much to criticize. It's not that there's not reasons to not criticize Ubisoft. For sure, there is. But I hate this thing where gamers do this. It's like, burn it all down, forgetting that these are people that are involved in this. And I don't mean the guys at the top in the C-suites. I'm talking about like programmers and animators and people trying to feed their families and just have a job in the industry and all that. Freaking back off and quit being a dick. Go play another game. That's fine. Let that be the way you
game.
protest.
Just don't play it.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't appeal to me. I didn't like it too much and whatever. But
Yeah, I hate that.
everyone's an industry analyst, so what are you going to do?
Like us.
Well, I think we warn people like we're kind of idiots. Well, at least I'll just speak for myself. I'm kind of dumb, so even if I'm trying to sound smart, just remember, not that smart.
Yeah, you're here for the meatus. You're not here for the meat. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, that took off real nice last week. Meatus. That was a big deal for a while.
Yeah, the meat is. I mean, it was mind blowing to me still that means a whole.
Yeah, it's still pretty weird, and people are still saying.
I think that's something that is definitely not a whole when I hear meatus.
Yeah, I have people write me little DMs and stuff and say, "Have you eaten at this place? They have really good meatus and potatoes." Like they're just slipping it in to make me think of meatus. So good job, everybody. You did it. Namco Bandai. John, you're playing a game right now from Namco Bandai.
I am.
They laid off a ton of people in a very weird way, or maybe it's not that weird. I don't know. Let's talk about them first. There's also another layoff at Riot and a few others. There's been some, like usual in this industry, 2024 has been nasty that way. And so was 2023. But anyway, Namco Bandai does this thing that apparently a lot of companies in Japan do. They have much stricter laws about when you can fire somebody or how you can let them go. So instead of just outright saying, "I'm sorry, we're laying you off. Thanks for being here. Here's a real severance or whatever. Bye-bye, and see ya." Instead of doing that, they took about 200 of their 1,300 employees, and they're sent to what's called expulsion rooms. All right? It's already sounding pretty gnarly.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like there's a meatus in an expulsion room.
Yeah, they might be fired through a meatus in there. I don't know.
Well, it's
exit
optional.
through the meatus.
Yeah, exit through the
I
meatus.
think in the expulsion room, there's a meatus in the room and an invitation if you want to expulse yourself out of the meatus.
Yeah, put your stuff in a box. These guards will walk you to the entry of the meatus, and you'll be expelled through the meatus. Anyway, they're in expulsion rooms, which is essentially everybody sits at cubicles and does nothing. They get no assignments. They get nothing to do. They can stay there, and that's their job, and they're on their job, but they're not actually being tasked with anything. And the thinking is that people will eventually go, "Well, this sucks. I want to be doing something. I'm going to quit." And then they
Sounds awesome.
It does. It kind of does.
Holy shit.
George Costanza's like,
I didn't think there was a job for me till I heard about this. Is Bandai Namco hiring? Because finally, I think I found a job I can do.
Unfortunately, no. And as far as I know, they're never trying to hire for that room. They just use it when they want to get rid of somebody. But
it's because the Japanese don't lay people off, right? Like,
right.
They don't.
They have harder laws and stricter.
So they're just
culture.
like, here's the stark truth. We've got nothing for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So either wallow in existential dread or do something with. If you want to leave, it's on you. Like,
yeah. They both,
I imagine there's like some face saving maybe in a situation like that where they can preserve their dignity if they stay and endure.
Yeah, like they chose to leave.
No
right?
one will be, no one will be mad at them if they decide to make themselves more useful and productive to society somewhere else.
Right.
If I had to guess about.
Right. Think about it. Both
the
ways.
psychology behind that.
Both ways preserve your face.
Right. The company's still willing to pay you
Yeah.
and support you because you're part of their family, but it's just being brutally honest with you that it has nothing for you to do. So if you were to leave, there's no dishonor in finding, something meaningful.
Yeah. You go find
If
another
I had
job.
to guess, that's why it is ended up that way.
Yeah. Well, most of what I've read around this seems to sort of support that. The rooms are designed, the floor plans and everything are designed to bore them or culturally shame them into accepting severance deals.
Now that's a bit of a dickish thing. They should put manga in there.
They should put copies of the origin story of certain Pokemon in there.
I guess they can't incentivize them to just have fun because that's also probably not looked down upon. But
Mm-hmm. They also can't. They also
get them a cat-made cafe or something.
They also canceled some stuff, some games. Let's see if I can find that list. I had a list. Was it in this link? It may not have been. Here we go. Blue Protocol. Oh no, that was another company. Let's see. I can't find it. There are some games that got tanked, but they also have a bunch that are still coming out, and the one John's playing is apparently selling really well. You know, those people, those Goku lovers, man.
Hey, can't get enough Goku in your life.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything else. Anyway, so that's going on. Riot did as well. Not much more to say on Riot, but Riot just claims they're future proofing, and that's all the talk these corporations give when they're laying people off.
So, just to tangentially on this story, because it's not on the news listing, but did either of you guys watch the Bloomberg video I posted to you guys?
Which one?
It was Jason Schreier interviewing Mike Morhaime about his new game Thunderfolk.
Oh, I did part of it.
2 days after Play Nice rreleased. In the weirdest, most awkward, and honestly kind of most unwatched video on YouTube.
What do you mean?
Let me just underscore. Well, Jason Schreier writes a tell-all about Blizzard, and Mike Morhaime's the main character, and then the two of them are having a panel together 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
Yeah, but it wasn't really okay, so you said this last week, and I actually have a question about this. I feel like he's not... I don't feel like he's the main character. I feel like he's a big character, but he's not the main character.
Sure, but he's a principal,
Well, also, wouldn't the head of the company you're writing a book about naturally be a focal point?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be weird? It'd be like, I don't know. Hey, we're going to do... I'm trying not to just steal what the next headline's going to be, but screw it. We'll say it's a James Bond movie, and James Bond is not in it.
Right.
Like, it's not. That's not the point of what we're doing here.
Right.
Like,
right. I think that's a fair way of putting it, John. I think I think he is obviously he's one of the co-founders. I learned a lot in this book. I thought Frank Pierce was there from the beginning. He wasn't. He was their first employee, and he was retconned as a founder. Had no idea. Adham, way more instrumental early on than anyone, including Morhaime. Like, Morhaime was resistant to a lot of the Adham stuff, and most of the Adham stuff was stuff that made gold for that company, including Warcraft's entire inception came out of that guy, according to the book.
Yeah, and I feel like he doesn't get talked about enough.
No, he's a mysterious figure for us, even as kind of hardcore fans. I just felt like when they brought him back for the incubator thing, I just thought, oh, he probably isn't a big deal, but that's cool. They're letting him come. Like, it's some of that is because that's how Blizzard paints the picture, and so you're just given what you're given. But this really gave me a lot of insight on that. In the case of Morhaime, though, I didn't feel like there was, at least so far. Again, I'm not that far. I'm halfway through the book, so I can't speak to the entire book yet. But I don't feel like there's anything skeevy going on there with Morhaime. Like, it just...
Okay. Well, also, he was probably a source. Like, Jason Schreier probably very clearly used him as a source, and who better to use as a source than the person involved?
Right.
But that's what I mean. Like, either it's like a really awkward, poorly decided thing, or they have an established relationship already, which kind of puts a stamp of endorsement for Mike on the book, basically.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So that's what I'm saying. Is, like, I don't mean weird as in, like, there's something we got to figure out. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, Hannibal Buress was the one that spilled the beans on Bill Cosby. You don't see them at Denny's 2 days later after all that shit happens. You know what I mean? Like, so it felt like that to me. I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, but he didn't have those kinds of beans to spill. He just.
No, I know, but it's still.
Yeah,
it still can be.
The beans
unless
matter
the
in this
last
story.
chapter gets real weird, he didn't accuse Mike Morhaime of
If someone was writing a book about
drugging
you and they
anybody.
were like potentially bringing up like your bad stuff and your good stuff, I don't know. It would just. There's two ways it could go. Like you're on friendly terms with them or you're not. So it's just interesting that what that implies.
Yeah, if the book was really damning of Morhaime, or really had a bunch of stuff to show that Morhaime did that was other than just like dealing with growth and struggling with it, and having a hard time managing what became of that monstrosity after WoW was released and all that other stuff. Like, there's just nothing in there. It was like, also, Morhaime set fire to Rob Pardo's penis one night during a sexual event, or, but it was none of that. So I think the beans matter in this case. Now, I know what you're saying, but I think the severity of the actual beans matter. Where did the beans come from? How come we got on beans?
I don't know.
Oh, spill the beans.
I'm just saying it just increases the likelihood of Morhaime being a source for the book.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he was. Like,
I just don't know why he'd meet. Like, there's a million people to do a press event with.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way: the book spills out right away that unless he specifies otherwise, everything contained in the book is from a source. Like, it says it, and there are stories in there that have two perspectives. Mike Morhaime being one of two. Yeah. So it's pretty safe to say that he was probably a source for some of this stuff.
Yeah. I think
that's noteworthy, I think, for the book.
Yeah, well, okay, so your main point is like, why would he pick him for the next, let's talk about a developer's new game coming out. And I think that answer is Schreier's done other work, including this, that's very close to the Blizzard thing. Morheime's off on his own now doing a thing. Everybody wants to know what's next for the guy who ran Blizzard. I think it's just not happenstance, but I don't think the two things are necessarily directly related. It's more like, well, I'm in your sphere, I'm in your orbit, so I can be the guy that moderates your thing. Maybe they approached him. I mean, I don't know enough details about it, but I don't think there's a conflict of interest.
In the context of this conversation, because they did talk about the layoffs as part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. It was just interesting to hear Mike's take on it, where Jason was like, the companies are really messing up and they're firing a lot of people. What's going on with the downturn in the game industry? And Mike's like, well, actually, the game industry is healthier than it's ever been. Sales have been, have been better than they've ever been in the industry year over year. Yeah. In Mike's opinion, what happened was, and I think there's a lot of consensus on this, so it's not going to be mind blowing, but people played a lot of games during the pandemic. Yeah. And they saw a number go up, and they adjusted for how they thought the numbers were going to go up, and everyone basically overhired. Yeah. So, the entire game industry is basically just purging because, well, the feast is over and they've got to readjust. So it still sucks to have the rug pulled out from you. And I'm not saying layoffs are good or something, but like, it's pretty clear. Every company has made this mistake and is laying off tons of people at this point.
Oh yeah.
Well, and it's worth noting too, because this is a conversation I see a lot of times in our YouTube comments. It's kind of been a prevalent thing that comes up as we navigate the minefield that is video game news, where one minute you're like, oh, it's so sad people are losing their jobs. Another minute you're like, hey, games like Concord, boy, they didn't have a great plan for that. That failed abysmally. And people have a hard time understanding, like, well, how can you feel both ways about a thing? Let me paint it this way. When I was a kid, we had a fireplace inside our living room.
Yeah.
And I thought it was neat. I wanted to hang out near it. It was warm. It was like kind of a self-contained fireplace, right? Like it wasn't built into a wall. And anytime I got near it, my dad would say, don't go over by it. It's hot.
Real quick for visuals, is it out in the middle somewhere, or is it close to a wall?
It's like in the corner, but not up against the corner.
Like on bricks or something. We had something similar to this, so I'm just trying to visualize.
It was full like cast iron fireplace, right?
Yep.
And so anytime I got near it, my dad would say it's hot.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, yeah, I know it's warm near it. And I went to touch it and he goes, don't touch it. It's hot.
No.
And I said, okay, well, sure as shit. One day I needed to know, how hot is it? I touched it. I burned myself. I got hurt.
Yeah.
My dad never wished for me to get hurt.
Yeah.
He warned me, don't touch it. It's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
At no point in my life did he think, boy, I sure hope my son burns himself.
Yeah.
I got burned. I learned a lesson. And probably in his mind, while he's not happy I'm hurt, he goes, well, at least he knows.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this. I feel bad when people lose their jobs. People losing their jobs is a bad thing. Like, kind of no matter what. And you can be empathetic for them. But at the same time, there are companies making decisions that are making video games that aren't always good, that are causing us as consumers to get not great games. And when they have to learn that lesson the hard way, you can also be like, well, maybe this means one less team-based shooter coming out down the line. Maybe we can get something original. It is very easy to feel both ways about something.
Yeah.
So I put that out there again because whenever we talk about firings and the industry, this is the comment we get. Well, why are you guys so upset about firings, but then you're so critical of video games? Because you can be both. It's not hard to be both.
You also should be
think
both.
You have to be one or other. Expand your horizons.
Yeah,
because it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Go watch the movie Inside Out and learn about how emotions can be more than one thing. Evolve beyond the baby state and reach, a complicated level where you can feel more than one emotion about a single thing.
Turns out those things are nuanced and they aren't just one thing or another. And I don't know why people think they are, but I hate absolutes. You're talking about absolutes. I freaking hate them. So quit talking about absolutes, everybody. There is no such thing. I hate the old phrase, but I still like it at the same time. There are no the only absolutes are that, or the only absolute is that there are no absolutes. And I really believe that. It's like a principle in my life. There's just really no such thing. So you may see a thing and it may seem simple on the surface. It never is. And so you feeling like, you do this with any industry, movies, whatever. You might say, I really enjoyed the latest Marvel movie, but I also think there's maybe too many of these. That's a nuanced take, and it's okay.
Or, hey, you shouldn't pre-order video games. By the way, I pre-ordered this video game.
Right.
Right. We are full of it. And if you're going to try and catch every contradiction, self-examine. We live in a world full of
for
them.
later in the show.
Oh, look at that. Bo's got a pre-order.
Okay.
It's
not a pre-order, but it is a confession.
Okay.
Okay.
You'll have to stay tuned for later in the show.
All right.
So, that's all I'm really saying. But to Scott's point, the only absolute that I adhere to is that only Sith deal in absolutes.
Yeah, only Sith. That's right. And that's why they're dicks.
Said a Jedi Knight.
But here is...
It's funny. That's paradoxical because it is also an absolute.
Yes, it is.
It is, but here's the funny thing about it.
That was Obi-Wan trying to tell Anakin, I'll follow you anywhere, but Anakin didn't get it, so they fought to the death instead.
Being nuanced means liking some things about Jedis and liking some things about Sith. How about that? There's another nuanced take. I don't have to just sit with the villains or just sit with the heroes. I can have a little bit of mix. I can watch Andor. All right? Very nuanced take on the Star Wars universe. How about that? Anyway, it wasn't as brilliant as I thought it was.
Right.
Speaking of James Bond, we weren't, but let's talk about him.
I did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
brought him up. I was trying not to, but I did.
That's
couldn't
true.
think of anybody.
There's James Bond games have been being worked on. We knew about this. IO Interactive, who made the Hitman series and Hitman World of Assassination. They were working, piddling away on this game. We hadn't heard much about it, but now we have. And we know this at least. The next James Bond game will focus on a young Bond and aims to launch as a new trilogy. I don't know if that means launch all at once as a trilogy, or I assume that means the first game and then we'll get two more. Yeah. It's a weird way of writing that headline, but it's IO Interactive. They have my trust. I think this is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see their take on this. I don't expect it to just simply be Hitman with a Bond skin, but I do think there'll be some pretty neat stealth ideas in it because that's what those guys do so well. And
Chad already Hitman with hair,
or Bond with a barcode on his neck. Yeah, I understand why it'll be easy to just think that they're going to do that, but I have trust in this. team. They make really rad shit, and their pedigree's perfect for it. Who else do you want making a James Bond game? And I don't want just another shooter that tries to, suck on the teat of GoldenEye memories. I want something that like does something different. So,
although how weird is it? Like, how weird is it that we don't have more games still trying to beat GoldenEye? You know what?
Yeah,
like, GoldenEye happened.
Yeah.
Then they made Perfect Dark, which was in a similar vein.
Yep.
And then they went on to make Time Splitters, which has its fans.
Yeah.
And then they fell off, and I feel like nobody has tried to recapture that magic ever again. And it seems weird to me.
Well, the original guys they made a Perfect Dark for 360. It didn't succeed all that well. Didn't really capture it. Original developers were Rare, and I think by then Rare is like way on to other things.
Yeah, but that 360 version was nothing like GoldenEye.
Are you talking like control schema? Or
I think and maybe this is why nobody does this, because it's hard to quantify exactly what the magic of it was. I think, to me, the thing that made GoldenEye so good was that it was an objective-based first-person shooter where difficulty was based on the amount of objectives that you had to complete. It had like almost in the vein of like a Deus Ex, where it's like you have stealth viability, run and gun viability, like mission structure that can be completed in multiple different ways, an emphasis on creativity and gadgets and objectives.
Yeah.
Like all of that mixed into a first-person shooter campaign.
So what if I told you that I think IO Interactive is doing just that? They're bringing those elements to the table. Multiple ways, because nobody knows how to finish a level in a million ways more than these guys do, right?
That's true. That is true.
So that's already a great part of their pedigree. The question is, can they also be a good third person, we assume, maybe first person. I don't know how they're doing this, but whatever perspective it is, can they make also the shooting great? If they can do those two things, that's exciting.
That's true.
And
because it is not, as much as I love and think it's quintessential to Hitman, it is not very James Bondy if you are like arming yourselves with pasta cans.
No, not at all.
So what if they just do a serious take on Hitman where you can stealth and smooth talk your way through a level? Maybe adding some like cyberpunk level stuff to it. Phantom Liberty does have that great scene where you're with the twins.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Talking to them at the casino table, and even just that whole nightclub vibe, like just think about that vibe, but you're James Bond, and James Bond's always got a few of the ladies involved in the missions.
He likes the ladies.
Got that going on, and then you gotta like put some
driving. You should probably get some driving.
Probably have some driving.
He doesn't really do the whole.
Although
disguise
oddly,
thing,
GoldenEye
right?
very little driving.
That's true.
The thing he doesn't do is disguise. Like disguises aren't really a Bond thing. Like,
no, he literally says his name to everybody he meets.
Yeah,
that's the only weird thing about him being a spy is yes, I'm literally James Bond. Here's my social insurance number 007. Like
yeah, you take away the part of stealth anyway that isn't disguise or not having people not know who you are, even though it's obvious that Agent 47 is walking around with his bald head, even though he's a waiter all of a sudden. Like those people are just stupid criminals. But my point is like Bond's reason for being there is a little more streamlined. It's less, I wonder if this combination of screwdriver and can of beans will get me where I want to go. Instead, this should probably be a little bit more like the room's full of shit I can use, but it's all spy shit type things.
This is going to be a tough creative room because Bond is like I think it's okay to say like a male fantasy where, it's like you're super cool and great at everything. And video games are kind of like there's two kinds. They can give you just the pre-fed lines and have you do the fantasy and you shoot the guys with a shooting time and do a bit of sneaking. Or it could, make some of that stuff skill-based, right? It's not guaranteed you're going to be suave. Like you got to like pick the right line maybe or roll the right skill. Like I don't know what the mechanics look like, but if there's fun and comedy in effing up. That's why Hitman's kind of fun. When things go wrong, it's terrible, but also funny and entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when things go right, then you're like, oh, sweet, I nailed it. Like I had a perfect run. So it's like it's always this weird thing where like the idea of James Bond ever messing up except maybe in love, and even in love, it's always like still cool,
Yeah,
It's like
he hooked up with the crazy lady that'll choke you out with her thighs.
Yeah.
He's still hooked up with her.
still hooked up, right? So like, it's always a good outcome for him, and that's why it's like the video game space. Maybe focusing on a young Bond means they can show a Bond that does make mistakes before he became a super spy.
A little more rash. Yeah.
But generally speaking, it's a tough character, I think, in the video game space.
Well, the good news is they don't have to adhere to a film
nowadays.
There's no film sequel. There's no film that's coinciding with this. This is going into territory the books don't even really cover.
And did they say like who they're channeling, or is it just their own Bond? Like it's a fresh.
I mean, I'm sure that
Bond.
they probably have to work with the Broccolis on the people that currently own it. I love their name.
Broccoli.
I love their name. Yeah,
their name's amazing. But the Broccoli family, who owns the rights to all the James Bond and the Ian Fleming
You're not
stuff.
making this up.
No, this is true.
No, that's their name. Yeah.
Okay,
It's truth.
Right.
They will have to be involved in any big story points, I'm sure, like character points. But I think they're getting a lot of free reign here.
Okay,
from what we can tell.
They have to have an original song. It should be awesome.
Yeah.
That is an important part. And a couple games have done this sort of stuff before.
Here, Bo, this is for you. This is part of the game.
I look forward to your report, Mr. Broccoli.
There you go. Nailed it.
Yeah, that's the best Broccoli.
I did
no, he's kind of creepy.
He's kind of creepy, but
I did
he's the broccoli I know, I guess.
Yeah, the broccoli you know is often the only broccoli you get, so you take what you can get. Anyway, it'll be fun to see what they do. I'm excited about this one. The new God of War TV show got started over from scratch. They scrapped everything and said we got to start over.
Shit. Whoa.
It's not a great feeling when that happens. Trio of top talent from the show left. Team is starting over, according to a report. Let's see. This was coming to Prime, so Prime's got the deal for this. It is a Sony Pictures joint Amazon MGM Studios thing. Says they're starting from scratch because, if I can find the quote, the scripts were scripts were praised by both Sony and Prime. However, the decision apparently came down to move in a different creative direction. That's all we know. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. That sounds
like you wrote and made the show, but we want a different show.
Here's what I think they did. I think they saw Halo and went, we don't want to make those mistakes. That's what I think. I think they.
They're just doing lip service. Like, yeah, it was the great stuff they handed in, but it was actually turbo trash.
Probably, or they just went, oh, this may not land with fans the way we hoped because we're trying to be different, and the fans are going to freak out, and they're brutal, and we don't want that. And Halo kind of went through this problem, and they're not the only ones, but like we want Last of Us praise. We want,
They did Fallout. Fallout was lauded by fans. Like, what a shock if you make something that is for the fans of that property.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out pretty good sometimes.
I think that's probably a huge part of this because it's the same, Prime, and I think Sony's the studio behind that. When they had that success, that probably changed the tenor of the room, and they went, well, are we even close to that with our thing? Maybe we should scrap it and start over. I don't know. We're making all this up because we don't know, but
yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
It could be going the other direction for all we know.
Wait, the Fallout guys are the guys that left God of War. Same, the principals in the article.
No. Different people, different group.
Okay.
Different showrunner. It's just that this is on the heels of Prime's very successful Fallout show.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So if they maybe they changed it. Maybe they were going to make him have a daughter, and he was yelling "girl" all the time, and they said that's just not going to work.
Let's just change it for no reason.
It's not going to work.
What are they going to do? Show Ragnarok's face? Or whatever his name is.
Ragnarok. Kratos.
Ragnarok.
The face of Ragnarok.
Sorry, I haven't
that was gonna be scene one. Kratos was gonna be like, "Wait a minute, you're telling me we're some kind of Ragnarok?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "That's right."
Oh, he was the Wheel of Time showrunner, and that thing didn't do that great. That didn't do very
I didn't
well.
watch it, so I can't judge. I'm not going to judge things I didn't watch.
Well, I didn't either. The ratings of it or the viewership wasn't great. Like the Rings of Power second season was killer. It's one of the best streaming shows of the year. I
hear people saying a lot of good things about it,
Yeah.
and I heard a lot of poor things about the first one. And I never really wanted to bandwagon it because I just didn't watch it and I didn't get around to it. So I have no idea.
I'm in the middle of the first season and I like it just fine. I think Lord of the Rings fans are just hard. They're just hard.
My wife watched the first season. She gave it the review of it was okay.
Yeah. She might like 2 more then, because 2 apparently ups its game.
It was apparently just okay enough for her to have zero interest in watching season 2. So
I also like Ziggurat's attitude. He loved Halo. He liked Wheel of Time. He's just happy people are making fun shows. Yeah, I'm trying to be more like that too. Like, we all hate everything out the gate, especially nerds. Or I don't want to. I'm not lumping us into that because I think we are more open-minded here on the show. But there's just kind of this immediate reaction to hate a thing before you have any time to even see it, and I'm sick of it.
I had that this week because I watched Beetlejuice, and that is a movie that I ignored largely because I was like, the reviews aren't great. Like, I heard from you who said you really liked it.
I really did, yeah.
Garrett said he really liked it. But like, I was looking at it, I was like, man, this just seems like tepid in terms of reviews. Nobody was like, we hate this movie, but nobody was getting excited for it. And like, the truth is after watching it, I can see why. Yeah. Like, that movie isn't going to set the world on fire. It's not going to do anything crazy, but I do not regret watching it at all.
Yeah.
Like,
and look, TV's like sometimes on a Sunday you just got nothing to do, so you put something on and it's good enough.
And it surprises you.
That's exactly how I felt about it. Like, yes, if you get right down and like analyze Beetlejuice, there's a lot of stupid stuff in that movie. Like, why is Willem Dafoe in that movie? He does nothing. He serves no point besides he's in the movie.
And that he's in everything now, and everybody wants Willem Dafoe in their movies. So,
like, he serves absolutely zero purpose to the film. You could take him out. Movie wouldn't change. Yeah. It'd be shorter. That's the only thing that would change.
I still liked him in it,
I was happy to see him goofing around. He made me laugh in the scenes he was in. So, he did that. Like, I get why.
Like,
I don't think that the critics were wrong, but it's a case for why, like, just looking at scores is hard because, like, it made me avoid a movie that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time. I think Bo should rewatch the D&D movie. I think we're ready for
it's time. It's time for him.
That thing's having a moment on Netflix right now. Like, it's killing it on Netflix.
Should I you know what? Should I light a blunt and watch it?
Yeah.
I think I'd have more fun.
Yeah, get some of that Canadian weed. Get that going.
Get high and give it a crack.
Just don't go in expecting cinema.
Yeah.
Go in and just have fun.
Get that Trudeau's Choice or whatever the top weed is up there, and you get that going.
Is it Trudeau's Choice?
I don't know. I'm making that up. I have no idea. I don't know what he chooses. Grows his own. Who knows?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
He's a little too zesty for. He might, but I don't think so.
The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, has now mandated, and they're working on implementation, but anyway, mandated rules for making unsubbing to thing easier. So if you want to cancel a thing, they're going to make it way easier. Gone are the days where I got to call Microsoft Xbox live support in India and beg them to remove my damn account like I used to have to do. They're already better at that now. I don't want to throw Microsoft under the bus.
Yeah, but there are still lots of companies that do that. If you have ever signed up for... if you heard a promotion on a podcast, let me just cut the legs right under ourselves here.
Yeah.
But if you ever hear a promotion on a podcast, never signed up for a service, canceling that's probably not going to be the most fun thing you've ever done.
Depends on the service, obviously, but like in the case of, like, I just had to cancel my Comcast Xfinity home internet service.
I'm sorry.
Nightmare fuel. AT&T, worse. It took me 2 hours on the phone to get them to do anything.
Hey,
so
telco's famous for making it easy for you to cancel.
Oh, the worst, dude. So
it's been a while since I've had to cancel something that was difficult to cancel, but when it pops up, it's
yeah.
It's so bad. They make it so hard.
They call it doom loops too when they do have an online way to do it, but it's buried, and when you go there, it doesn't actually take you to where the cancel is. You got to answer 15 questions. They're not always they're often mandatory questions.
Stick around for 50% off for the next 3 months.
Yeah, it's a total nightmare. Now, signing up, easy as pie. They make that fast.
Oh, yeah.
They're in.
You could do it almost by accident.
Well, they're just being considerate. They really think they really have a strong belief that it's a bad idea for you to stop the agreement.
Well,
everybody's looking for an angle. Let me tell you, I moved into this new house, and immediately you get people every day trying to sell you solar. Like, hey, you want to put solar panels on your house? Will you solar? We put up a no soliciting sign. They still came.
Yep.
So we got a thing for our doorbell that you have to actually flip open that says, do not disturb.
Yeah.
You have to flip it open to touch the doorbell, and it says no soliciting.
Yeah.
Day after we put that up, someone at the door, hey, just want to let you know, I'm not selling anything, but I do the bug spray service for your neighbors, and we're going to be spraying tomorrow, and that sometimes causes the bugs to migrate to the house next door.
Dude.
And if you want to sign up, you can. It's like, what are you doing right now? You're selling under the guise of just a FYI, bugs are coming to your house.
That
Like,
makes me want to take
are you
counterfeit.
Americans allowed to put like a Gatling gun on their front lawn?
No. I mean, you'd think with the Second Amendment we could, but it turns out that
That's why I'm asking. I'm not familiar with your country except what I see on the news.
you'd think you'd think they would, but no, they're a little picky about.
I would be very concerned about trespassing on anyone's property in your country.
What I would do, John, I put a little sign out there that says, if you come here to sell me anything, even if it's some scheme that you think my neighbor's bugs are coming to me, I'm going to come out there with a splintery broom handle and I'm going to put it in your anus and see what happens.
I'm going to explore your meatus with this broom.
That's
handle.
right. Your meatus will not see this coming. You have been warned. And then hopefully they stop. I'm with you, though. I freaking hate it. But here's the deal. Someone in the chat said this, too. I was going to get to it. But basically, this boils down to what was it like to sign up? It needs to be that easy to cancel. That's really the mandate. So
that includes your games as a service. So,
yeah, everything, all of it.
Yep. It's
I will
tangentially related.
Yeah.
By and large, video games with subscriptions, pretty easy to cancel.
They're not bad.
Oh, I got some complaints about canceling Game Pass. It's less that they're trying to keep you in and more that their site is just ass.
I haven't canceled Game Pass, so I don't.
I haven't. I didn't find it hard at all. What did you run into? Because it was easy for me. I mean,
it's just a lot of links to a lot of places, and maybe it's gotten better. This was circa a couple of years ago, so. But it was like, I just find the whole layout, because it's all the Microsoft services, very difficult to like find where I was going. Once I found it, it was easy to cancel. Like I said, I'm not saying they intentionally obfuscate, whatever. Whatever.
We know what you mean.
I'm not saying they intentionally obfuscate the cancellation or make it hard. I'm just saying their sites like could be way better. They're just like they don't do just like a Game Pass site. You're on the Microsoft. Do you want an Office subscription? Do you want this subscription?
Yeah.
Like all that shit's in there.
Yeah. Well, you're always going to have that, right? You're always going to have that. But for me, like I'm looking at my right now I have PC Game Pass and I canceled the main one, and that was really easy for me. If I go into the PC Game Pass one, let's see. What does it let me do? It's like what I want is the same, like one click it took me to get into Game Pass. This mandate would say, well, you need to give that equivalent to getting out, which I completely agree with, and I can't believe it's taken this long for this shit to like come down the pipe. But
just to be fair, in case any Microsoft people are listening or whatever, I think I technically found it harder to sign up than I did to cancel.
That's great.
There was this bug where I had like a free month, so I was like, you can't sign up when you have a free month, or it was years ago, but I think if I'm just being honest, I probably was more frustrated signing up than canceling. So.
Yeah. So it is always the last thing in the list. Like I've got billing history, redeem a code, turn off recurring billing, upgraded ad perks, and then finally at the very bottom in slightly smaller text, cancel subscription. It is on the main account page, so that's good. But I think what the FTC wants, and I know Europe wants this, they want like, if it was a big green button that said join Game Pass, they want a big green button that says cancel it. Like they want it to be that easy. And companies go, they just don't want to do it. It scares them.
Because their whole thing is like retention.
Yeah.
Set it and forget it. But, like I'm pretty sure a big part of the percentage is of their business is just enjoying free tax.
Yeah.
Like if you pay for a service and don't use it, you're paying tax to the company.
Yeah.
You're essentially taxing your income at this point.
Yeah,
so
effectively.
If they make it hard and you're like, oh, I can't be bothered with this right now, then they've won another month of your money. And, on a broad scale, that adds up to a lot. It's unfair practice.
Well,
I'm fully on board with
hats off.
fixings.
In Blizzard's case, it's very easy. I never have trouble with that when I have to pause it or turn it off. Super easy with it. They make it easy, and they don't bury it, and they don't make it hard. Neither does, I mean, say what you want about Final Fantasy's overall management system for accounts. It sucks ass, but within the ass that is sucking, I can find what I need and get out of there.
Yeah, people just said Final Fantasy 14. Well, one, I haven't canceled it, but two, I decided to check and see how hard it is.
It's not hard.
It's super easy. I go there, I click Final Fantasy 14, and there's a button right under renew subscription to cancel subscription.
Yeah, it's not hard.
No, Final Fantasy 14 is
not hard
the offender.
at all, you guys.
What you need to check in on is Final Fantasy 11.
Oh my gosh,
it's still running.
Oh,
But if memory serves, signing up for that thing was one of the hardest subscriptions I think I've ever done in my life.
They still maintain that game? That's still running?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's getting renewed interest because the new raid in Final Fantasy 14 ties to Final Fantasy 11.
Oh, those hardcores, man. They probably love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steam also pretty easy. A lot of games you can sub to within Steam. So like ESO, if you have the Steam version of that, you sub to. Well, I think that's maybe it's also true of Final Fantasy. I can't remember. Maybe you have to go off the site. But anyway, the ones that do it within Steam has just an area that says your subs, your subscriptions, and then you just cancel or renew anything you want. It's very easy.
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing. I pay through Steam, so it's pretty easy to turn that off too. But I will say the business with Final Fantasy 11, I let my subscription lapse on Final Fantasy 11. This was way back when it first came out. I let it lapse and my account got locked, and I said, well, how do I get back into it? And they said, you buy the game again and re-register. I went, oh.
Wow.
So I'm just done playing Final Fantasy 11, I guess. I'm sure it's better than that now, but based on what I'm seeing in chat, probably not much better.
Wow. I'm on the page now. Did we go back in time? What day is it? What year is it? Holy shit.
Can't be good.
That's crazy, dude. This is so old. This is website circa 2003, first of all. To get in, what do you even do? I don't even know how you sign up.
Final Fantasy 11 again?
You should
Free
do it.
Windows client download.
You should do it. Are there reasons to do it? You know?
No.
Are there little people, those little tiny people in it? What are they called again? Lalafels?
They're not called Lalafels in 11. They're called...
They all have their own everything.
I think they're called Taru.
Oh, well, that's worse.
Yeah,
so
that
forget
might be it.
Something like that.
Actually, I like that better than Lalafell. Lalafell sucks. That sucks, isn't it? Well, anyway,
it doesn't have the job system, but it's like a turn-based combat system, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not turn-based, but it plays closer to it. There's like a delay.
Oh,
it's weird.
Interesting.
Like
I never played it.
They're called Taro, and the humans just called Hume.
Hume.
Because the extra letter was too much.
Well, it's like you could if you took Bo and you added a T and an S in the right place, you'd be Metis. Oh, it had to be an M as well.
But if you took your name, Bo, and completely changed it.
Yeah. If you took out the B, take out the B,
Jeff.
add these other letters.
Put a T and an S, and I'm Beatus, and you call me Beatus, and I'm a Mad Max character.
If you changed out all your letters,
I
you would
am
be Jeff.
Beatus.
Oh, that's funny. The Jeff thing got me. I'm trying to find some footage of. I've never played this game, and I have to admit, I've never seen it been played. So I know it exists.
Fantasy 14.
Yeah, no, 11.
11.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there. I played it at launch.
I played a little bit of it, and then I switched to WoW. Ben played it for the longest time, and I was constantly telling him, just come play a good game.
Yeah. Come play Warcraft.
You were not wrong.
I mean, it's for its time, though, right? I mean, it was like the first console MMO.
No, even for the time, it was not great. Simply because, like it has XP loss on death. And this was after World of Warcraft came out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's frustrating.
Oh, yeah, that was the rage,
The
though.
combat
this was
sucked.
before WoW.
Yeah, this would have been before, right?
Yeah, this was before WoW.
WoW was 04. This was like 01,
But yes, it
02.
did still have some old...
I don't know. It
things.
released... Hang on. It can't be true.
No, it's true. Search in your heart.
Search
You know
your
it
heart.
to
You
be
know it's
true.
true. Hold on. I'm going to see if 2002. Yeah, 2 years before.
Oh, it is 2 years. Wow.
Yeah, this is right around the time of what's the Realm versus Realm one that I was. Oh, Dark Age of Camelot had the same thing. You'd lose XP on death. Freaking F that shit.
Yeah, that was the standard for the longest time.
Yeah.
Like even EverQuest 2 had they didn't have losing a level, but they had XP debt. So until you paid off that debt, you just earned less XP.
Oh,
crappy.
that's like a what do they call it now in raiding when you have a health deficit or a healing deficit? You have to earn the healing back.
Yeah.
In raids.
It was I remember in EverQuest there was a period of time. It was so frustrating. I hit a level and like the difficulty spike in hitting that level was significant. I did a lot of soloing and I got a whole bunch of new spells because it was one of those levels where I got new spells to use and I redo all my bars because you had to pick which spells you used. And then I would die and lose my level, and now I couldn't use any of those spells, so I'd have to switch out all my bars again for the old spells, go back, regain the level, start leveling up, die, lose the level. It was insane. I can't believe that that's how we did it. Also, to get mana back, you had to sit down and stare at a book. Like that's what you did. You didn't even get to see the game world. You had to look at your spell book.
Yep. Those are the days, man. Those were the days.
So bad. But boy, do I love EverQuest.
You can still play Dark Age, I think. I was just chat's talking about it a little bit. I think you can still get in there. There's a widescreen.
There's very few of those games that I think are dead.
Yeah, there's something running, like a server at least or something, right? I mean, even well, I guess not. Oh, that's the one heartbreaker in that book is the Carbine stuff. When those guys left Blizzard at the height of WoW's success and didn't get the bonuses they were promised, they bolt and they take some of their best talent and they start working on what was that game called? The space one that everyone loved and then it went away. They went free to play after a while. Shit. Chat room, help me. What is the name of that game? Anyway, Wildstar. Thank you. Jeez Louise.
Oh yeah, Wildstar.
Those guys, there's just such a sad story. They were so talented, such like cool ideas and promise and all that, and it just didn't work.
Wildstar had such potential. I really enjoyed my time with Wildstar, but the problem is like a lot of MMOs, they had a very specific aim when it came to like the high end of the game, and I just had zero interest in it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you've built your house, you've played through this bit. Do you want to go do the other stuff? No, not really. Then, well, why am I subbed to this?
Yeah, why am I even here? Yeah. Oh my gosh, watching this Dark Age stuff gives me some serious nostalgia, though. I played this a lot. That was my big pre-WoW game. All right, there's that. Let's talk about, hey, everybody, Cyberpunk statue will give you emotional damage.
Good. You channeled it perfectly.
I went with the meme, but look at this thing. So this is $300. Edge Runner's statue, so it's based on the anime. It's based on what this describes on PC Magazine as the most horrific moment in the anime. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, it doesn't turn out well for one of those two characters.
Yeah, look at
that's the full image there, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
And you don't know who wins. I have an idea. I mean, I know who does, but you could look at this.
I don't know who wins. This girl I've never seen before, this guy who's in the game that takes place afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about spoilers on this one.
No, I don't think so.
It is an audio
Who could possibly
podcast.
be the winner?
Yeah,
It is an audio podcast, so we can just say it's Adam Smasher in the air, coming down to Mario Stomp, Rebecca.
they're docking,
Who?
right? Is that what that is? Docking here in the middle?
I mean,
Well, that's not. It's the guns are connected, but it's not a sex move. No.
All right, I'm just trying to apply previous knowledge as I learn on the
it's a
show.
statue.
I know.
They got to touch somewhere, Scott.
You've definitely we can confirm that Scott recognizes shapes and patterns and words associated with them.
Sorry, I try to apply.
It's okay. You're not wrong, but
my dad always said, "Learn, but apply what you've learned." See, that's what I'm doing.
You did. You know what? You did, Scott. You applied what you learned.
Great, and it is called Edge Runners. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, this is our fault, John.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
taught
it
me.
is.
You guys
It's our
taught
fault.
me.
I
It's-
accept responsibility for what just happened.
yeah, like
but
the drug commercial when you were a kid. I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you. That whole thing. I'm saying it to you guys.
Honestly, it's been a big benefit because I saw someone in Discord describe the Diablo expansion story as the definition of edging, and I thought that was one of the funniest comments we got.
edging of hatred.
That's pretty good.
Anyway,
Anyway,
no, it's just it's horrible. That moment's horrible. I don't know why you'd want a statue of it, but I kind of
It's a cool statue.
it's pretty neat.
It is. It's pretty
It's a
neat.
really cool statue, but like, yeah, it is. It's like getting a statue of Wash from Serenity, like being like, "I'm a leaf on the wind,"
Yeah, yeah.
and like a piece of wood just starting to come through the wind.
Well, I read someone's tweet on Twitter that was like, this statue is like if you had a statue commemorating Old Yeller just as he was in front of the shotgun.
Yeah, yeah. It's gnarly.
It's like, why would you want a statue of that moment? Like,
You all need to, for real though, watch Edge Runners. It's so good. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
listeners, it's so good. Oh my gosh, and they're making more.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
how have you not watched
Well,
Edge Runner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get ahead of this because everybody keeps saying we're getting more Edge Runners.
Yeah.
There is going to be another cyberpunk anime on Netflix. It is not being made by Studio Trigger.
Oh,
That is guaranteed to change the
tenor of the
it should change your expectation.
Mm,
That doesn't mean it's not going to be good.
yeah.
It just means change your expectation. Don't expect Edge Runners 2 by the same people that brought you Edge Runners.
Yeah. That's a good
We
point.
don't know enough about it yet, and just keep in mind that the studio that made it is not the studio making this. It's Netflix's in-house animation studio, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever.
So,
Oh, well, now you just made it worse. If it's
I
gonna-
know, but people got mad at me when I was negative about it.
I had an
They're like,
open
you
mind
don't know
until
if
you
it's
said-
going to be good. And
It
I'm
might
like,
be
well,
good. It
okay.
might be
I
all right.
had an open mind until you said Netflix in-house. So I'm like,
It
like
might
any
be
other
good. It might be good.
Netflix.
I'm not.
Okay.
Whatever that, because
You know,
listen, their
it
in-house
might be
doesn't
good.
mean
You're right.
when they say in-house, they don't mean down the right into the hall to the left. There's a guy who's going to animate this. They mean like they're going to pay animation studios. They're going to contract this with somebody directly instead of having some big studio
Oh well,
do
if
it.
it's contracted, it's fine. I
Hey
just
there, I'm Phil. I'm going to be doing your animated program.
look, I don't want it just the way it sounds in my brain. It's like, guess what? We're doing Warcraft 4, and who's the lead game designer? Bobby Kotick. That's when you say like Netflix in-house animation. That's like the feeling I get. I'm like,
It's like, I get that. It's like having it would be like Blizzard subbing it out to some half-assed studio or something.
right, yeah, so it's like, but you have to have an open mind. Maybe it could be good. It's just I wouldn't put it in the marketing. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we'll
And
see
they
what
did
do.
because I didn't know. I just saw a trailer. Went cool. I'm happy for more Cyberpunk.
Rusty
Now
Nails
that
in the
I-
chat says Bo went full corpo. He's back in the corpo on this one. I love it. That's funny. I mean,
I
he's
went
not.
full corpo.
Well,
I was-
the
well.
animation studio not doing it. They're a big corporation. Not really in the traditional sense.
All right, Rusty Nails. I set an appointment in your calendar for 4:00. We'll talk
Boy.
at the end of your workday.
Speaking of
about
Studio Trigger.
some
I'm like,
performance
wow.
issues. But for now, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Don't worry too much about it. All right.
Yeah, we're putting you in the expulsion room a little later, and
Oh, hell yes. Finally.
don't be
Listen,
afraid.
listen, Scott,
if
Scott,
if
that's
you see,
privileged. That's manager only information.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Metis is manager only information.
yeah, if you see a giant meatus, run.
do not
run
break
the
the
other
cone
way.
of silence on Metis. Thank
Yeah,
you.
get the hell out of there.
Busted my ass to get to the expulsion room, and you can take it from me when you can pry it from my cold, dead hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say all you got was this cheap T-shirt or something like that. That's where I thought you were going. Well, let's check it out, everybody. I'm going to share with you some platform deals for the week. This is just a thing I thought about doing, and maybe this will stick, maybe it won't. But on Steam, Assassin's Creed Mirage has finally launched on that platform. It is only $24 currently on launch sale. It will go back up to 60 whatever when it's done. That's US dollars, of course. That's a really good deal for a very good AC game. It is not the big sprawling monstrous ones we're used to. It's a much smaller experience. But I'm tempted, even though I played it on Uplay, to get it again here because they've made a ton of improvements to it. It's got some of the best traversal the game's ever seen. And prior to some of the patches, it was some of the worst they'd done. So they really improved it. if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, that's a hell of a price, and it's on Steam.
Also more of the classic feel too, because you got it for me as a gift, and I played some of it, and it was like less like the RPG-ish stuff, more like standard Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed.
like old school, very stealth based. You know, the music is really good. It's cool. It's a good game. PS5, we got Street Fighter 6 is only $39.88 on Amazon. That's the physical edition, and that's about as cheap as I've seen that. So that one stuck out at me. Xbox players, Dead Space Digital Deluxe Edition of the remake, fantastic freaking video game. Currently $27.99. For that version is usually $80. That's like the big monster version, and that game deserves to be played wherever you play your games. So
even knowing they won't be making more, still worth it. Still worth it.
Well, the good news is the first Dead Space very self-contained. No, it ends on a cliffhanger. I take back it.
So but still, it's absolutely worth it.
In the same way that all horror movies end in a cliffhanger, right? Like every horror movie, the end.
Yeah.
Or is it?
I think even 3 might have ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think they saw more coming, but didn't. It's unfortunate. We'll see. Maybe the future holds something for this. On the Switch, we have one of my favorite all-time chorecore games. I know John enjoys it as well. Power Wash Simulator, $17.49, normally $24.99. Perfect little take it on the go chorecore game where you clean shit.
Very fun, but it definitely is like The Sims. When you're done with it, you're like, what have I been doing?
Yeah,
with my life?
What have I done here exactly? But it does come with free.
Why am I doing this?
And you look up for playing Power Wash Simulator at your dirty kitchen and go, there's a connection I'm not making, I think.
What the hell is wrong with me?
It does come with free DLC that includes Final Fantasy VII DLC, which is really cool.
That's what I played. That is 100% of my Power Wash Simulator playtime.
Yeah.
No, not 100. I did play the base game a little bit,
Yeah.
but I did clean up Shinra HQ.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's cool, and you get to clean the bike, and there's a bunch of cool shit in there.
Hey, what's the context? Oh, sorry. What's the context of this living room in Discord?
Living room. Oh, that's the John's. I was thinking that might be what your fireplace might have been, that type.
Oh,
it was vaguely like that idea where it was like contained, not part of the wall, not built in. It was its own thing. This looked a lot smaller and a lot older.
Right.
I thought it was related to Power Wash Simulator.
No, definitely not.
Scott's like, look at this room I cleaned.
No, that was about an hour ago. But that thing is like, that's a house meatus, is what that is. That's how you get into your house. That's how Santa gets in.
It's just a meatus, right?
It's a meatus.
Smoke meatus?
Yeah, smoke meatus.
Yeah.
Smoke meatus.
Santa Claus. A claus meatus. That's how Santa gets in there. Brings presents through the meatus and gives them to your kids. No Pokemon, though. All right, moving on. Let's see what we got here.
We're overusing the word.
Those are your platform deals of the week. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Dear Martha, we got a great one from a listener. Yes. John's going to have some fun with, I think. So watch for that. Also, our week in gaming and more. Stay tuned. Not really a hold it cat, or let me hold you cat.
But he came down and was just yelling at me.
Oh.
Well, like he wasn't nowhere to be seen, and then all of a sudden he's like,
bow, bow.
Yeah, that's what our cat is like, especially when the family's not here. He just comes and meows at me a lot.
Bow. All right.
Like I'm streaming. I'm going to use you as arm candy. So come on.
That's right.
Come on down to the live show. And then he's like, no, I don't want to be on camera.
Yep. No pussy cam for you.
He only comes down when my mom goes to bed.
Oh, I get that.
He's like, you're boring. I guess I'll go hang out with Bo.
Sure.
And then I'm like, you want to play Diablo with me? And he's like, no.
Nah.
No.
Too clicky.
Not interested.
Too clicky. All right. We're resuming. This is us coming back when I say, and we're back. Hey, everybody. We took a break, but we came back. Why did we do that? So we could do a Dear Martha to kick things off after the break. John, I'm going to read you this. This came to us via, I believe, a text, but no name attached to this. So we have no one to blame for this, but ourselves.
Okay.
Here's what it says. 801-471-0462, by the way, is where these often come. And this one says, you're a rogue playing World of Warcraft, and your guild raid team finally convinced you to join the raid since they have it on farm now and will carry you. All right?
Boy, this sounds tailor-made for me.
This might sound familiar, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Goes on to say,
not a lot of acting in this one.
He says, however, because your condition to join the raid or in joining the raid was not to help clear trash mobs, because your condition to joining the raid was not to help clear trash mobs, there you go, you're writing a letter to Martha informing her about all the new hobbies you've developed to spend your downtime on during the wait between bosses. So basically, this is based on someone we know.
Yeah, loosely based on my raid experience. Well, not a lot of improv for this. I'll just tell you about real life, I guess.
Yeah, this is just real here. So sit back and enjoy, everyone. Whoops, that didn't go loud. Why? Let's do it again.
My dearest Martha, it's come to my attention that I have not been a positive role model in the raids in the World of Warcraft. Turns out my hiding from trash mobs has become trendy. Now other people are attempting to do the same thing because if it was funny for me, surely it's going to be funny for them. Well, now I have to look like I'm participating. So here are a couple of ideas I've had to show that I am participating. 1. I have transmogged to look like another raid team member. That way, when someone surveys the area, they go, is John participating? He sure is. That's him right there. But it's not me. I'm cleverly hidden far away, watching from the shadows. 2. I like to just run up to the trash and dance around it, as if I'm actually doing the mechanics. Now, most of these don't require much, so I just go stand behind the target like any good rogue would, even though I'm an outlaw spec and being behind the target is trivial at this point. But that way when they look and they go, is John participating? Sure he is. He's right there. Look at him. Another thing I like to do sometimes is to jump around, like I'm creating my own mechanics that I need to avoid. That way they see just a lot of action. Surely John must be participating. Nobody would be jumping quite that much if they weren't actively at their keyboard participating in all of this. That's another real good way to get them. I have also taken to just right-clicking so my character will animate as I sit there and swing my swords. Though I am worried that if I appear on the damage meters, I will suddenly be called out. So I make sure I'm always just outside of melee range so my name doesn't appear at all. You can't see me at the bottom if I'm not on the list to begin with. Anyway, Martha, I hope these tips help you avoid trash and trash mobs. Yours in this life and the next, obviously John Jagger.
Is that obviously underscore John Jagger or just?
Yeah, I don't know the layout of it necessarily.
Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, well done. I wasn't sure how that one would go. That was exactly what I was hoping for. And nice poll, listener, who very cheekily pretended like you knew that wasn't John the whole time, because obviously
it is. I'm getting a FaceTime call from my wife and son who are camping.
Oh, you should take it.
I think while they're on there, they don't realize that it's core night, or maybe they just thought they'd call in the middle of core. But yeah, here they are.
Oh, look. Are they in like little tents or what's the deal?
Wave hi to everybody. Hi, buddy.
Hi, bud. Oh, that's cute. Are they just in a tent or where are they?
I think they're in a hotel. I think it rained.
Oh, it's that kind of camping. All right. That's my favorite. That's
Bye, buddy. Love you.
That's my favorite kind of camping, by the way, is in a hotel. Love it. It is currently hailing here and lightning all over the sky, so something's going on in the West, where you also reside. Well, that's awesome. Let's get to today's.
They hung up.
Oh, they're gone now? Okay.
They're gone. I was gonna just mute and say hi for a minute, but they're gone.
Excellent. Let's do some stuff.
Hello, China.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's get to some news, or not news, games we played. That's what we're talking about. Silent Hill 2, the remake. Yeah, that's right. Thanks to Shatterproof. I played a bunch, about 2 hours plus of it, and John watched me. And was there and also recorded it so that both of us are having commentary and whatnot. It's up on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is shortcutted over there to frogpants.tv, you can find the VOD so far. I plan on doing all of that game. We haven't had another session yet, but there's a good 2 hours plus, like I said, that you can watch. There's also a shortened version of it. I crammed something down to about 3.5 minutes of all the big scares. which we try to do every time we do one of these. And I have to say, Silent Hill 2 is impressive.
Yeah.
It's creepy as
It was
shit.
a good time.
Yeah, we're not quite to the stuff that's really gross and awful about those games, or that game in particular, but it's really pretty. Like, I don't know, I'm having one of those, like RE4 levels of, wow, they really did this well, is how it feels. And I'm really impressed. It's something. I still hate those games because they scare the shit out of me, but having John there helps.
It is true. It does scare you quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's super
and
fun.
It's exciting because I don't know what's happening. So I sometimes give you bad advice, or sometimes I let you walk for a really long time because I don't know that there's a run button. I can't tell. I'm just like, well, he says he can't run. He can't run.
The crap I took for that on the live stream and then later, they don't tell you. There's no tutorial at the beginning that says if you hold down the left bumper that you'll have a run button capability. They don't say that. And so as a result, I didn't know. And because I didn't know, it was stupid. I walked everywhere. And then when I finally learned how to run, it was a magical moment. And there's real speed in this game if you need it. Anyway, scary, gross, really technically something, and is getting really good reviews. So I guess I'm kind of happy for Konami for kind of getting it right. They're not known for having much these days. And, you know, this was
watch the VOD. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, I think we had a good time with it. I think we had a good dynamic of you being terrified and me making bad jokes while you were.
Yeah, and F the little crawling guys. That's all I wanted to say.
The meatuses. That's what we call them.
Yeah, they're called the meatus. That's the other reason that meatus carried on, is we used it in our playthrough of Silent Hill 2. Anyway, more on that coming soon. Bo, you and I played a bunch of Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, or VOH as the kids call it.
Oh.
You're muted, by the way, Bo. I don't know if you knew that.
Dang it. Sorry, I was talking to Arthur.
Oh, Arthur. Oh, the cat.
Arthur the cat. He's meowing. I was like, come here.
Better than Art the Clown, I can tell you that.
Yes.
So Vessel of Hatred, I'm still playing a bunch. I had some issues with the internet the other night, so I wasn't able to play as much as I wanted to, but I'm still getting through the story. I'm not finished quite yet with the story. I'm doing a lot of side stuff, and I'm really enjoying the class a lot. What's he called? Spirit Dancer? No, Spirit
Monk.
Spirit Monk.
Spiritborn.
Spiritborn.
Yeah, but I try not to call it Spiritborn because it's just monk to me.
Really is kind of a monk. I mean, It plays like the monk with a bunch of goo, so it plays like the witch doctor. So there's
like some witch doctor. I think witch doctor is like the aesthetic, but the mechanics are monk.
Well, it depends on the stuff you're using. Like, I'm using a lot of gooey stuff, and you can use things that are a little more martial arts based. But I would, he's a Mitch doctor. How about that? Mitch doctor, short for monk doctor,
Mach doctor,
Monch doctor. Yeah.
Sure.
It's a very tight class. Feels real good. I'm enjoying it a lot. The game's just a better game right now. It's just a better game than it was when it launched, and I'm enjoying it. Are you you started early, like in the old story?
I started because I didn't unlock anything in softcore, so I decided to start the campaign from scratch. I finished the campaign.
Nice.
And it's a good reminder that the campaign is actually freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Most of the RPG playing is going to be like not that. I've even seen some creators that I've watched say like, "Oh, I didn't even know the story," and I'm like, "That's crazy. It's just crazy to me." Like, the Diablo 4 story is actually just like really good. Like the vibes in it are good. Like it's not super deep or anything, but like it's got that horror vibe. And cool scenes and just that Blizzard like art, that like can really knock it out of the park. Both in the cinematics, and just even in the in-game machinima cinematics.
Sure.
And like that Inarius versus Lilith cinematic. I watched that earlier today.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's really good.
It's so good. Yeah, it's really long and meaty and just like very rewarding to watch.
Yeah, the in-game cinematics are way less glitchy than they were at launch too. I've noticed, like, just a smoother transition.
Smooth. Yeah, it was a great experience playing it. The only negative experience I've had on a technical basis is zone transitions. I still feel there's rubber banding. And I'm like, okay, we're a year on. Haven't we fixed that yet? But apart from that,
Yeah, I wonder about that.
The
I get
game's
that
good.
too.
All the new systems like so far that I've played, I like. I like tempering and masterworking.
Mhm.
I have now unlocked some mercenaries. I got the lady that likes to eat people but doesn't want to anymore.
Oh yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's a real riot. Yeah, she's like, you're like, you sure you want to help me? She's like, yes, I don't want to eat people anymore.
It'll distract
You're
me
like-
from my eating habit. Rah.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't sound very convincing. But and she's like, okay, now that you helped me, you can eat me.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I don't want to eat you. Just chill out.
Maybe she's just trying to
So-
insult you. Eat me, she says as she walks away.
No, because you save her, you defeat her in battle, and she's like, "I owe you my life, but please help me with this thing, and then you can have my life." And you're like, "Actually, I don't want your life. Like, chill out."
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I'm having a good time with it, but I haven't played much of the campaign yet. So by this time next week, I'm sure I'll be done because it's not going to take that long. But I'm still early in Vessel of Hatred, so I go looking for Narel and Laura. Like the church is obviously now ruled by a masked guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Prava's not the leader anymore. Now it's this weirdo masked guy that smokes stones. Like at one point he has like a cigarette, but it like clanks on the ground like a stone. So I don't know what it is he's smoking, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
The
sure.
masked guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
Urivar, I think is his name.
I always forget the names. That sounds right.
So I got stabbed, and I was shocked. This game, apparently, the people who make Diablo believe that when you get stabbed in the gut with a blade, you have a good chance of surviving. Because Lilith gets stabbed by Anarius and survives, and at the beginning of this expansion, you get stabbed through the stomach and washed down a river and get rescued. But it's I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's pretty sad. I mean, it gets stabbed like pretty much in the heart. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just in the beginnings of Nahantu
Yeah.
and liking it so far, but it's very early, so I can't really comment too much on the campaign thus far.
Yeah.
What's really funny though is that like I've been max level forever, and I'm at 100 Paragon, and I'm still not done playing campaign. Like, which is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just like, holy shit! Like, I'm gonna be done leveling by the time I get to end game. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but it's good because
Although-
now you get those old, everybody's favorite Paragon levels from 3. It works pretty good.
Yeah, I think technically I have end game open, so it's like you can do the expansion content and the end game at the same time. So it kind of doesn't matter.
Right.
I can confirm. Have you done the rifts? Like Nephilim rifts are just completely back. Literally,
yeah.
fully, literally back. They even have the stone, the obelisk, and you activate it, and then it breaks apart, and there's a portal in it. Like, I'm like, we're back. Diablo 3 is back, baby. It's a Nephilim rift time, and it's like beat the 15-minute timer, get the boss, and get out. And it's not unpleasant. So it's
No, it isn't. It was good. It was good
Yeah.
then. That's why
I
it's
like
so
it, so-
baffling that they had to relearn this.
But there's still a lot of other stuff I haven't done. Like I helped the guy get some body parts.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, baby.
And-
Yeah.
Mhm.
tell-
Well,
tell
it's
me
from
more
it's
about
from it's
helping
from an
the
old
guy get body parts.
it's from an old wizard who I guess tried to channel Mephisto but was buried away, and we couldn't find the eye.
Okay.
So the guy ripped out his own eye, and we
Oh.
used that.
Good Lord.
It was like okay,
Dark.
and I don't know what it's for, but I think it's a new end game activity that you're prepping for it. So I don't know what it is yet, but there's that.
Interesting.
I think there's an end game activity where you go to hell. One of the worst parts of Diablo 4, awesome ass hell level. In an end game, you never go back to hell. It's like in the campaign in Act 6, you go to hell. It's cool.
Yeah.
And well, if you liked going to hell, it's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
So I think finally you're going to get to go to hell and do hell things, which is great.
Like
I
a
like
proper hell. Like
I think so.
Yeah.
I just did the mission to unlock whatever it was, so I haven't actually gone in to see what the biome looks like, but it's called like Hell Invasion or something like that. So I think we're going to hell.
Okay. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with Diablo 4, and this is where the confession time comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a skin.
Oh, this is the confession.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I actually, because the
Can I guess which one before you say which one?
Yes, but I'm just going to explain. I didn't buy just currency. I bought the enhanced edition, which comes with 3K and the battle pass and all the hoo-has, because why not get it all and
Yeah.
then get the skin I want?
Yeah.
All right, John, you guess.
I'm guessing you got the Wamsamdi Warcraft tie-in skin because it looks really
So
cool.
that's John's
What?
guess. I'm going to guess you got
Scott, you gotta
Arthas. I'm going to think I say Arthas. What'd you get?
All right.
Kel'Thas.
Got it.
Oh, John
John's
got it.
John got it.
It's the best skin. I mean, I'm going to be honest. The Wamsamdi thing is the best looking one. It's really
I was
cool.
able to say no to all of it because the problem with Warcraft skins in Diablo, just generally, is Diablo goes for the ugly aesthetic. So, like Sylvanas is like the skin feels to me like, what if we made the ugliest version of her adornments as possible? It's not even remotely tempting. Same with the Arthas skin. And same with even Kael'thas. Like I like the cool glowy eyes and stuff, but I'm like, this just isn't doing it for me. And then I saw Bwonsamdi, and I'm like, oh no, this works in Diablo.
Yeah.
This really fits. This to me looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
And I really wanted it. And the thing is, I said, well, I'll probably find something cool in game, and I'll be happy with that. The basic, because I've been playing lots of Barb and Rogue, and I have a skin for both of them.
Yeah.
And the basic item stuff just looks so drab. It's so depressing.
Yeah, because
My
the cool
psychology-
stuff is
my-
in the store.
My psychology couldn't fight my desire to like actually look cool in the game, because like there's no armor I can find that drops that's gonna make me feel like I'm cool.
That thing that they absolutely swore over and over and over again that they weren't going to do, they did. So
Yeah.
I
So,
think
I'm
you're
still mad
honestly,
about it,
I'm
but
still
whatever.
gonna say, I think you're smart. Like, I think everybody should buy one stupid skin so that you can look cool and not give them another dime that way.
All right. Well, now I don't know what to get because this is my
They learned
problem.
their lessons.
I have choice paralysis. I don't know which one I would care for.
It depends like what you're maining. I know I'm gonna like, I love Monk and I like Spiritborn, and so I know I'm gonna play it a lot. So I feel okay. But like I've never really played Necro, so when I see Necro skins that look awesome, I go, it's easy to say no because I'm like, I haven't proven yet that I'm like, at least get a character to like level 60 and still feel like playing it, and then maybe buy
Yeah.
one. There's some awesome Druid skins. Like
go
holy
off
shit.
of that, because don't. I mean, like the best option is don't buy a skin. But if you're gonna constantly fight the temptation, buy one, look cool, and then go, all right, I'm done. You're not getting any more from me.
Yeah.
Again, Diablo makes it easy because even the paid skins, some of them look like ass, like they're booty, because it's the aesthetic, and maybe it's going to look good to someone. It's not like Overwatch when I get in there and I'm like, I want all the K-pop skins and the Transformer skins, and then I do some napkin math and I go, I want $246 of skins. Like, I'm gonna have a talk with myself about not getting these things, even though I want them. But only being attracted to like one or two options in the store is at least psychologically managed and financially manageable. So there's that. Anyways, that's my confession. I bought a skin.
But
I
you
just
feel
wanted my monk to look cool.
you
and
feel
Bob
okay
Zombie
about
is
it. You
cool.
like how it looks. I love that you're just going to call it a monk. I love that.
Yeah, it's the monk.
It's the monk.
Yeah.
It is.
Scott, I am telling you, I it is like the mechanics and moves are mostly monk.
Yeah,
moves.
you're right. They are. They are.
It's the monk. Like when I play it, I feel like I'm playing D3 monk. Like
It does.
100%.
It actually feels like they said we want to make something for all those monk players because they apparently were a lot. People love the monk. YouTube mainline monks all the time.
It's
Back
my
into-
highest level character in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think they wanted to make those people happy, and they just had to call it something else. Like they could have called it a monk, I suppose. But I think
Yeah, but that would be acknowledging Diablo 3 exists. We can't have that.
we can't have that, John. We
No.
can't have that.
I mean, they have the Barb and the Necro, which are both in
Yeah, but their
Diablo
base game.
Diablo 2.
They're both
and
games.
Diablo
well.
3.
Yeah, they're base
Yeah.
game choices, though. What do they do for the next one? Do you think it's a Crusader or something called like a shield bonker?
Shield person.
Yeah, there's a
Shield
lot of people
person.
that want. I don't see why they wouldn't just call it a Crusader. They're literal. Johanna's literally the namesake of Johanna is literally in the game. Like when
Yeah.
you put that armor on,
You
you
can do
become
a whole
Johanna.
You can do a whole
So-
quest for Johanna. So
Right. So it would not be like It'd be weird to call them a shield bunker.
I feel like
you know,
it's
like
gonna
there's
be
Crusaders in
Paladin.
the
Like
game.
that's gonna be what they call it. But I would love if it was
maybe.
a Crusader, because that's what I spent all my time. Well, not all. I was a monk, and then I was a Crusader.
I mean,
those were the two.
this panel of hosts on this show is going to have a generally broad opinion that Diablo 3 is actually good, and people who shit on Diablo 3 are, they can have criticisms, but we all like Diablo.
I have
loved it.
criticisms of Diablo 3, but I love Diablo.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yes.
It was my favorite
Diablo
game
3
of all
was
time.
amazing.
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
so, I would just say, like, yes, bring all the classes from Diablo 3 into the 4. But, I realize they're dealing with a broader player base. And
I shouldn't say it's my favorite game of all time. It may be my favorite series, but it's definitely up there. I loved 3.
I've played 2 remastered recently, and I've played Diablo 3. And you know which game I like better? Diablo 3. Like, sorry, but it's just what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's a good game. This is also really in great shape right now, so I'm glad people are playing it. I'm enjoying it, and there's more to play. We also played a bunch of The War Within. Not much to say here, except we have been raiding. That's going well, progressing nicely. Although tomorrow night I'm not here, neither is our other tank, so you guys are getting...
Yeah, it looks like I'm tanking.
Yeah, you're tanking tomorrow.
Nice.
I've got a birthday party, and he's got a family thing, and it's just happened to be a bad
how
Friday.
does tanking in retail work?
Tanking is just let's see here. So here's what I recommend for tanking. You taunt the boss when you're told to, see. And then
what if nobody?
Bobby won't be there either, so I might have to be the teller.
Well, DBM is usually what tells you. So
right, add-ons.
Yeah, add-ons. Remember those, John? And
I try not to, but
I know you're not a big fan. I'm not either, but it does do a good job of saying. And now it's a nice lady voice. She goes, "Please taunt or taunt the boss or whatever." So I'm doing a lot of that where I'll taunt that way because she's telling me to. But now I'm also used to the fight, so I'm just sort of doing it because I know how to do it. But the other thing with tanking that I used to fear so much was the mobs would just suddenly get sucked away by somebody DPSing too much, and that can happen, but not really. You just taunt them again. It's not a big deal.
No, it's not a thing.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal.
So I did classic. So I'm just trying to figure out, is like classic rating harder than retail rating as a tank? Because I have lots of tank experience this year in Season of Mastery. So, I feel
just do that. Just do more of that, and then if
a little
you do bad,
overconfident,
blame Scott.
Yeah, blame me. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, it's mainly just the adjustments, I think, on thinking for some of this stuff, right? So
right,
and it sounds the way you describe it sounds like it's easier. So
right,
it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It hits me, and oh no, I've got too many stacks of a thing. Take it off me, and that's about it.
Well, there you go.
Plus whatever the boss mechanics are, but just broadly speaking.
Overall, though, like it's just been a lot of unlocking the vault every week, trying to do your stuff. I haven't been in every second like I was for the last few weeks, but I'm in a good place where I'm just sort of in when I need to be and working on stuff when I can, and I'm not connected to my keyboard like I have been for a while here. Which is good. I think that's healthy for me to be that way. But I'm also, geared nicely. You're better geared than me, actually. I think you're going to do real good. Although this isn't tanking gear you're geared with, though.
I'm 615. And by the way, I've had like a bracer order for the guild all week, and like someone make it, please. I provided all the mats and a 10,000 gold tip. Like, I need the bracers, please.
Please help me with bracers. I made almost 200,000 gold in a week just when I had meetings, which I've had a few of lately, just doing gathering and selling them on the auction house. 200.
Have you finally upgraded so that you have permanent mount when you're gathering?
All that stuff. I got all the equipment. All that stuff's maxed out. It's weirdly cathartic when you're like watching a movie or talking on a phone where you don't have to really pay attention and just float around and grab that stuff.
You know what I noticed is I guess because everything's more instance to the player nowadays. Like there's tons of nodes now. Like I did mining in Classic, and it's like you got to find the node. Oh, I went around the wrong way. There's no flying, right? It's just like it's a massive pain in the ass to like actually go out and farm things.
Yeah. And the other guy
it's so easy in retail. I'm just like, oh, there's one. You
do in Classic. People snake your node before you even walk in there, and it's like, damn it! I've been looking at that dot for 5 minutes, and now it's gone. Now I got to wait for a respawn or go somewhere else and risk it all happening again. You can just You just sort of can mine and
Well, I
gather.
had skinning as well, so what I would do is I'd farm skins while waiting for my node to pop.
Yeah,
basically.
That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work. But anyway, having a good time per usual. I'm looking forward to next week because all the anniversary stuff starts. All of that stuff looks like fun. So
it's next week
Yeah.
already for the tier 2.
Yep, the tier 2
Cosmetic
sets, the cosmetics, the all the new
Apparently
mounts.
they're all earnable. It's like 60 currency for the first one, then 40, then 20. And so it's like it's slow at first, but then you can earn a lot of tier sets.
Yeah, you want all 14? It's going to cost you. Is it 14? Something like that. It's going to cost you a good penny, but I'm really only interested in about 4 of them.
You don't need it for all of them unless you're like a mega collector. It's not necessary.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But I do want all the mounts
just
that I can
cosmetic.
get. Mounts would be great. I want the world boss mounts really bad. So I want to do a bunch of that with people. Yeah, it's all going good.
It's Blackrock Spire, right? There's like a new raid or Twilight.
Yeah, Blackrock Spire. Is it Blackrock Spire? Or
No, it might be
Depths?
the Blackrock.
Blackrock's Depths? No, hold on. Hold on. So,
Blackrock Depths or Twilight. It's something in that mountain. There's something in that mountain, that general area. One of those things.
Anniversary raid.
It's Depths. They're saying Blackrock Depths.
Depths, that's right. Okay, so I'll do that. We'll all do that.
Like apparently there's like upgraded mechanics for
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it won't be like the old one, which is probably good. Anyway, I'm excited. It's all going good and well. WoW's great. I'm loving it.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun still playing it. Again, like I said, I'm still pretty done with activities, so I'm glad there's a new patch with some stuff to do because I've
I've
got all champion gear. All I need are gilded crests. Mythics are hard.
Yeah.
And raid only happens once a week, so
Yeah, I'm at this kind of the same boat where it's like I just need a sloth of new stuff to do. So
yeah.
bring that on. I'm a little tired of the current delves. The delves I think are great, but it's just, after a while it's like, oh, another delve.
How many times are you going to do them? It's
Yeah.
like, I think I've done at least 100.
It's very, very repetitive after a while.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. Oh, that's it for me, really, except for Crime Scene Cleaner. I did play a few more missions of that. I didn't for a while, and I don't know why. I just got playing other stuff, but that game's awesome. That's the Chorecore game of the year, I think. When it comes to the end of the year, I think I'm picking that. It's going to be hard though because, well, I don't think Shapes 2 with a Z is really Chorecore. It's more automation and management and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think that would
factory
necessarily fall into it.
Yeah.
I think
call it
I think
factory
you'd be
game.
safe to not consider it chorecore.
Yeah. So if that's the case, Crime Scene Cleaner right now is a winner for me for that category. Unless something big changes between now and January, that'll be my pick. John, let's swing it over to you and talk about Metaphor ReFantazio.
ReFantazio.
Oh, sorry. I don't get it right every time. I don't know why. It's just such a dumb name. It's
Yeah,
so stupid.
speaking of games of the year
Leviosa.
so far, yeah, it's pronounced Leviosa, Scott. Metaphor is awesome, you guys.
I've been seeing a lot of buzz in our chat and our Discord about this game. People are loving it.
Is so good. It is. So I am a huge fan of, maybe not the biggest fan. Like I like the Persona games, right? Like I've played Persona 3 and Persona 4. Those are the ones that I've actually put a lot of time in. I haven't really played Persona 5. So if some of the stuff I'm about to say has been around since Persona 5, I just haven't played it. But Metaphor falls into this interesting place of like familiar but different, and in almost every way that it's different, I like it better. So it's not completely divorced from some of the mechanics that exist in Persona games. There is a calendar. Time is passing. You do have things where someone's like, okay, there's a social gathering that's going to happen, and we need to have an assault ready to go on that date. So we have 10 days to prepare. So how are you going to spend those 10 days? And certain things take an entire day. Some things take, just the first part of the day, and then you have time to do stuff in the evening. And so you are making the same choices that you do in like a Persona game where it's like, well, do I go hang out with one of my comrades, which will boost our ranks together. In addition, it ups my stats. All of this sounds very similar to Persona stuff, but it's recontextualized a little bit in the form of it's not based around school. You're not like going to school and like, well, I got classes. I got to get smart so I can do good in my classes. Now the traits that you have in the game are called like kingly traits. It's like qualities that would be good in a leader. And you have to keep those up as they present opportunities for new narratives and quests. So like, for example, there was a guy he's kind of a roguish guy, and I wanted to convince him to help me because I got robbed and I needed somebody who might know the underworld to help me. But he's like, why should I help you? Well, I had to have a certain level in imagination to think of a good reason to convince him to help me out. Like, I had to think of a good way of like, well, here's how scratching my back will also be scratching yours. And until I hit that level with imagination, he wasn't going to give me the quest. He wasn't interested in it. So it's not like, oh, I got to get my intelligence up because I have a geometry exam that I need to pass so that I can further my real world stuff. Like, it's more tied directly into the world. And even though it's very similar in the way that you handle these things, that kind of reframing of it really changes how it feels to where it feels more immediate. It also lets you get into the game a little faster because you don't have to go through the like, you're a person in school. Here's your classes. Here's your classmates. Something weird's going on. Why are you here? What is this? We got to explain all this wild stuff. Instead, it's just like, there's a fantasy world where fantasy shit's going on, mostly racism, and now you're in it and you got to figure it out. And the game is not subtle. It is called metaphor.
Yeah.
This is a metaphor for social commentary. If that surprises you at all, they put it in the title.
Yeah.
Shouldn't surprise you one bit.
And the
Fantazio.
Yeah, what does that mean? If you just fantasy, just like fantastic, like what do you think?
No idea. The metaphor is on the nose. The ReFantazio is for somebody else. It's a wiser person to unpack.
Do you agree? Some of the criticisms I've heard anyway is that it's a slow start. Is that true?
It doesn't show its full hand right away, so there is a bit of a slow start. One nice thing that this game does is like Final Fantasy 16, it has a demo that you can get for free that is the prologue essentially of the game. And if you if you end up going, oh, I really like this, I'm going to buy the game, your progress from that demo carries over. So you skip all that and you get to just keep going.
Gotcha.
So I do think it is a little slow before it starts like showing you everything, but it's trying to explain a lot, like any first game in a series. Like, you got to build the world, you got to build the events. I think one of the things I really liked about this game is it spends a lot of time making you think it's going to do one thing, and the narrative goes in a very different direction. It's like, oh, I get what we're doing. Like, okay, here's the bad guy. We got to get ready. He's going to be powerful. We're going to have to fight him. And it's not that goes away, but the game shifts its focus in a real interesting way, kind of in the middle of it. The only criticism I have is the game does spoil some stuff unintentionally within its own narrative, which I didn't love. So very mild spoilers, but the game spoils it themselves. So, but for example, like the game builds up this character that the plan is you're going to assassinate this character, right? Like, because they're a bad guy. But then your dialogue with certain characters, speaking outside of the context, they're like, you're going to have to build up your strength quite a bit if you're going to be able to defeat so-and-so. And it's like, well, wait a minute, why? Because we have this plan to easily kill him. Surely it's going to work. Like, it isn't, but when the game is even kind of acknowledging that the thing you're working towards isn't going to work, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit, right? Like,
oh, I see. Right.
So it's like I need the game, even though I know better, right? Like, because everybody gets together and they go, oh, we got to kill this bad guy. And you're like, it's never that easy, right? It never is.
Yeah.
But I need the game to acknowledge that it could be that easy.
Mm.
When the game is also going, yeah, but it's not going to work, right?
It's like
come
Cyber.
on. Come on.
It would be like in Cyberpunk before the first mission where you go to Konpeki Plaza, the game saying, "Are you sure you packed enough guns just in case things go wrong?" And you're like, things will probably go wrong, but you don't know, and the people don't know, and they're operating under the assumption that the operation is going to go smoothly. So it's like, are you sure you have enough guns? And did you upgrade your cyberware just in case there's a really tough, you have to fight Adam Smasher or something like that?
What if you have to fight Adam Smasher?
Like, what do you mean Adam Smasher? He's going to be there? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have chat arguing with me, and it's like, okay, if you want to argue that one, it's fine. The game also blatantly tells you that you should be working on your personal kingly virtues to try and lead the kingdom long before that's ever a consideration in the narrative.
Okay.
Let's be honest. It gives it away. It gives a couple things away. It's not the biggest deal. It doesn't make it a bad game. There are great games that can have bad things.
Don't you insult people's metaphor ReFantazio, John.
But I just wish it didn't do it. There are a couple things in the game where they show their hand a little earlier than the narrative shows its hand, and I have small problems with that. But everyone's like, you should always try for kingly virtues. Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, the game is really good. The art style is beautiful. The combat systems are really nice. They found a great way to make grinding kind of fun, because the way it basically works is if you're going to be in a trivial battle, you don't have to fight it. In the overworld, you just smack it with your sword like an action game, and it just dies. So there's no we got to go through the whole, let's go to a battle screen. Let's click battle, and go through all the menus, and here's your XP. You just run up to it, smack it with your sword. It's dead. You get your XP, your items, whatever, and you move on with your life and you keep going. So there's been a couple times where I've gone back to complete something that maybe I didn't have time for at the time. And I go back in, and it's like, okay, well, I just ran through here, and the only thing I had to fight was the boss.
Right.
So I think it's really just a very creative system to kind of keep you in the flow of the game, to not make going back feel like a slog. Because that's the thing, is because everything's on a timetable, there's going to be times in the game where you're like, well, I have to go to the dungeon. I just have to progress the dungeon further. I have to keep trying to get through it. I don't have time to go do this bounty. Well, you may still want to go back and do the bounty, but if you're thinking about it's going to be so much time, you're going to decide not to do it.
Yeah.
The game does a really good job of keeping it action-packed and moving quickly, so you can just keep pushing through. And I think that is really, really neat that the game does that, because it's made me want to consume kind of everything in the game. The classes are all really cool and unique. You get it's kind of got a job system that you can assign to your team. So far, all of the characters are really, really great. Voice acting is amazing. There is the character that I met. There's a character I saw, and I was like, oh, here's the character Scott would hate. Because there's always in any anime game. I think it all the time. Just, this is how Scott lives in my brain sometimes. I see a character and I go, oh, here's the character Scott would hate.
It's a dirty old man.
No, not a dirty old man, but the overly... this is a world where a lot of people have animal features, right? There's a race of people that have dog ears and dog tails. And there's a race of people with wings and stuff like that. But there's a couple races that fall way more on the animal spectrum than the person with animal features.
Yeah.
And I ran into a very cartoonish looking bat.
It's not the guy with glasses. No, he looks more like an owl.
No.
Okay.
No, I ran into a very cartoon looking bat guy, and I was like, uh-oh, here's the character Scott hates. He started talking, and I was like, this will be Scott's favorite character.
Really?
He is so good. And
now he must know. I must know.
I just want to say, this game is not afraid to do crazy things narratively.
Huh.
it's a common discussion for good or for bad. I don't want to go too deep into the whole like the online bullshittery of it, but this game is certainly not pulling punches when it comes to its storytelling. I cried playing this video game.
Whoa.
Whoa. You cried.
Not like sitting there going, but I was sitting here and my eyes started to water and I was like, holy shit, this game is going for
Got
it.
choked up.
It's
When you say
not
like metaphors, are you talking about like geopolitics stuff or?
No, I just mean you hear about it. Like, it's a common thing where people are like, oh, it's soft storytelling, you know, like that whole thing. It starts to lean into culture war bullshit that I'm just not interested in getting into. But it is true. There are narratives that feel very safe, very protected. This one is not afraid to talk about children dying. It's not afraid to show people get mashed into bloody goo. The creature design is awful. At some points, like it tackles race issues and classism and stuff like that, and it hits it hard. Like it doesn't dance around it. Like even though it's called metaphor, it doesn't pretend like everything's okay.
Are you recommending this game? Like
yes,
the way you're talking, this sounds like I'm not sure
recommending
if I should.
this game.
I've been like mildly side-eyeing it and going like, I have lots of games through which to keep myself busy. I started Persona 5 and went, whatever. But I'm still intrigued by the positive reception of Metaphor, and now you're saying cool stuff about it that I like. And
one of the highest reviewed games of the year, too. Huge.
Reviews. I like that it's complicated. The game basically puts a giant sign on a character and goes, this is the bad guy. This is the guy you should hate. And he's the guy whose politics is, hey, we shouldn't treat people based on their race. And they made him the bad guy.
Oh, so you're killing the woke guy.
Yeah, I hate that term. But, yes.
I'm sure there's going to be twists and turns in the story.
There is, and it's not that him being the bad guy means that this is the narrative complexity for people that are like, oh, I'm not going to play a game where you're a Nazi or anything. Here's the complication of it. Yes, he's the guy that supposedly is trying to represent all people, but the point is that like your ideology is one thing, how you go about enforcing that is another. And so you can have the right ideas enforced wrongly just as much as somebody else can have the wrong ideas but rule justly. You know, it can go both ways.
Sure.
And so it's very nuanced, and it's a lot more than you see in a lot of, narratives where bunch of anime characters running around. You surf on a sword every now and then.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I like surfing on swords.
Is there like an anime or a movie or game that you would liken it to, like narratively speaking?
Yes. What did it remind me of? There was something where I was like, wow, this is a lot like this. I wonder if it does feel like they played Final Fantasy XIV. In some regards. I don't know if that's a direct influence on them or not, but as I'm going around to the capitals, I'm like, oh, this capital's a lot like Ul'dah. And then we just got to another capital. I'm like, this feels like Limsa Lominsa a lot. But from a narrative perspective, I can't think of it. There was something while I was playing it, I was like, oh, this reminds me so much of this. It's so good. Not like Game of Thrones or anything like that, but
yeah, just even anime or something like that. Okay, well, it's fine if it isn't. I'm just like, again, it's helpful, I think. 'Cause, again, I'm trying to find I'm like part way there where I'm like, am I going to play this game? Am I going to get into it? I mean, these RPGs take a long time. It's also a $93 purchase for me.
Yeah, it is a lot like, I'm seeing people say it's a lot like Final Fantasy 16, but faster. Yeah, I see a little bit of that too.
How's the music in it? I know the art's
music's really good. Love the soundtrack.
I don't know, Scott, buy this?
Uh-oh. Scott dropped.
Now?
I see chat room saying that there was buzzing. And
Yeah,
now
I think.
Scott's...
Can you hear me now? Should be better now.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Chad. I got a weird sound subsystem thing that keeps acting up on this new update. My bad. I was going to say one of the things I like about what I was seeing in the video was that your encounters with just trash. This is good conversation for John, where it's just like, oh, these dogs are in the way or whatever. You're just real time killing them. You're just hacking, slashing them, and then you get to a real boss fight, and then it's just the big turn based thing. That's so refreshing to see in a game like this. You don't want to stop every time there's a dog and do a turn based fight with a dog that gives you nothing or there's really no point in it. Like, let me just tear through these and then get to the stuff that matters. I really like that in the combat. That seems neat.
I remember what it was that it reminded me of narratively, and I realize now that this is going to be right up Bo's alley. I keep thinking about Final Fantasy VII playing this game.
Oh, weird.
Well, I mean, it does this. It does the way you describe some of the story has that vibe where, you know, the good guys aren't really the good guys and the bad guys aren't really the bad guys kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into, you know, this side narrative that it's really interesting. I'll give another, like, spoiler warning skip. It's not the biggest deal. It's kind of like the basis of what the game is, but it is post-prologue. One of the big story beat elements of this game is that they are looking for a new king. Like, that's literally in the opening videos that the king is assassinated.
Damn kings.
But there is basically a bunch of narrative circumstance we don't need to go into where the new king is going to be determined based on a trial.
Okay.
Like, to make sure that the most fair and, like, loved by the people king is basically made into king. There's a whole bunch of narrative ways on how that's going to work and how it's going to happen. But, like, it's basically who's going to rule this kingdom, and there's sort of this big magic MacGuffin literally in the sky that's judging it. And
there's a MacGuffin in the
Yeah.
sky.
I'm trying to talk over it a little bit so that there is surprises for people, but, like, somebody said, so Dawn Trail, you're not wrong. Like, I did think, like, man, if this had been the narrative for Dawn Trail, people would have been a lot happier with Dawn Trail.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's really cool. The art in it is amazing. Like,
It looks really
every
good.
time a human shows up, which human is a monster in this world, just that's what they call the monsters. Anytime a human being shows up, I just want to take a picture of it and send it to you, Scott. I just want to be like, look at this thing. This is the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, the enemy design looks amazing. The just a graphic thing in general. You know what else I noticed? This is better than Persona 5. Persona 5 also had that kind of mix of here's some hand-drawn anime, and then it transitions to gameplay, and, you know, it's like a lot of that. This seems like instant. Like, you'll have a moment of, like, really flourished out film, and then it will immediately turn into a moment where now you're in the game again. And it's no load screens, no weird transitions or anything. It's just like you're there. That's pretty impressive. It looks really good.
Yeah, it is a very good looking game, and it has all the style of Persona. And that's kind of like the other element about this game is it shows the strength of having good style in your video game, because this game doesn't have to be the most, like, graphically advanced game ever. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks great, but style carries it so far. And it's even things like when you transition from one section of the city to another, that could be a loading screen, right? Where it's just like, now loading, and then you go. In this, it's a quick cinematic of someone, like, stylistically running through a town.
Jeez.
And it looks cool, and it makes you visually interested through a loading screen. And not a lot of games do that, but this game is like, no, we're going to put style on everything. And it all somehow vibes and goes together.
That's great.
It really is one of the most impressive games I've played in a long time. Like, it is crazy good.
Nice. Well, high praise from John for Metaphor ReFantazio. one of the dumbest names in the history of video games, but maybe it makes sense while you're in there. It's fine. Whatever.
You know, you gotta get your own brand. I'm sure Persona seemed real dumb.
Well, at least in that
before
case.
it became a household name.
Yeah.
Persona's a word, though. You know.
Well, it's not only a word, but it also, you had a persona. It was like not a creature, but like a thing that that was you. It was your persona. Whereas this thing is like, all right, metaphor I get, ReFantazio. I don't know. That's just weird.
It just sounds very like Fabio. Or something just not cool, you know, like it's
cover of a book with ReFantazio.
But maybe you eventually will learn Fantasio magic, and then you'll cast the spells twice, and the second one will be a ReFantazio.
That's the thing. John may get way into this, and then suddenly it'll be made known, and then we'll all eat our words, and that's fine.
Like, it's the most mind-blowing word ever concocted for a video game. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it will make sense, but for now, it's fine. For now, it's enough,
and it's cool. It's a video game that is rad. Hey y'all, how about some more? Let's get our Dragon Ball on, John. You're still playing?
Not so much to say about this. I will say, tied back into the metaphor ReFantazio discussion, a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about, I didn't spend a lot of time with. I also had a question during the break where somebody said, hey, Next Fest is going on Steam. And John, you always play demos during that. I've been too hooked on metaphor. And I would love to tell you that that's going to change. It's not going to change.
Probably not
it's all
change.
I want. It's all I want to do right now. I'm about 30 hours into metaphor, and it's all I want to do.
We'd love to tell you, but we can't tell you that, John.
I can't tell you.
No.
So
there's a character called Traveling Boy.
Tell me.
Oh, I think your character is
called Traveling Boy? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at screenshots, and I just was looking at the menu, and I'm like, all their names are weird, but I'm like, who's Traveling Boy?
Yeah, I think you're Traveling Boy till you name him. The game, for whatever reason, the first character you name is you sitting at the computer. So it was like, who are you? Not the protagonist.
At level
who are
20.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you say, I'm John. And then it says, then later it says, hey, what do you want to name the main character? And I was like, oh,
I
that wasn't what I was putting in there. Okay. So my main character's name is Croy.
Why does it want to know what your name is, though?
I don't know.
Is there some fourth wall thing where you break through and you're like, oh, the guy behind the computer?
We searched your porn folder and found
my name has come up. I can't remember the context for it, but it is in the game somewhere, but I can't remember why they put my name in there. It's some mystery that I'm unraveling.
Yeah, that's a curious thing. I guess you'll tell us when we get there, maybe. Or maybe it's a spoiler and you won't want to. I don't know.
Probably a spoiler.
Maybe you're the ReFantazio.
Yeah.
I am. I was the ReFantazio all along.
Yeah, you're the one that we needed and wanted. Well, that's great. So a little bit of Dragon Ball, though, right? Sometime.
Yeah, I played a little Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That game's still awesome. If you like Dragon Ball Z or Super, whatever, the new one, Daimo or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Go play it. It's good.
Consume it. Help out Bandai Namco so they don't go bankrupt twice or whatever.
Yeah, everybody buy that game. I just don't have much to say. People think that game's hard. For some reason, I have not had that issue. I beat Monkey Vegeta first try. So get good, internet. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Monkey
Vegeta. This game was a bit notorious because a bunch of people got to grade ape Vegeta in the story mode, and he started crushing people, and a lot of people fell off the game, said it was too hard. I don't know. Like I said, I beat him on my first try.
He's the big King
humble
Kong.
Brag, get good, internet.
He's the big King Kong looking dude walking around, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can play as some giant characters in this video game.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm gonna order the fajitas next time I'm at the Mexican restaurant I love.
The fajitas.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love fajitas.
Oh yeah, dude. Give me a hot plate of steak and chicken fajitas with all those peppers and onions.
With jalapenos on them.
Oh.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm gonna have to. This
Man, we
weekend.
used to have a restaurant here called Fajitas, and it was my favorite restaurant, and it didn't survive COVID.
It's right there in the name, fajitas.
Yep. Yeah, they made their own tortillas in house. You could watch them do it, and they did the thing where they would bring you big platters of meat, and it would just be still sizzling
shit.
on the thing when they brought it to you.
Yeah.
And you just paid, and they just kept bringing you meat, and you kept making more fajitas. And if you ran out of tortillas, they had another thing ready to go. It wasn't like other places where they're like, here's your platter with like 100 million veggies and 5 pieces of shrimp and your 1 tortilla to eat with it. It's so stupid.
So wait, that
It's
was
just stingy
it was
at other restaurants.
all you could eat fajitas? They'd bring you.
It wasn't all you could eat. You paid for it, but you paid for the meats by like I think you could do like half a pound.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So like it was one of those things where shrimp is where it always gets you. I love shrimp fajitas.
Yeah.
They always mess with you with shrimp fajitas because shrimp's expensive, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, give me some shrimp fajitas, and like seriously, you have to go hunting for the shrimp in there. They're hidden because they put in 7 of them.
Hidden shrimp. That's great.
It's ridiculous.
All right. Well, then let's dive into these UFO 50s. You're still going through them. You got 4 done this week.
Yeah, one more really quick thing.
Yeah.
While I'm bragging, seeing as I've already bragged about beating Great Ape Vegeta, I will just say, I said last week I was done with Mega Man X Legacy Collection. Now I'm officially done because I have now perfect gamed Mega Man Legacy Collection. I have all of the Steam achievements.
Damn.
I've beaten all of those games multiple times to do it. I'm done.
I don't know what to even say about that. I knew you were going to go for it with it. I kind of had a feeling, but I didn't know you were going to clear the whole table. That's crazy.
It's done.
Yeah.
Not only that, Scott, this is how far I went. I was like, let's make this as perfect a Steam achievement as we can. You know how you can collect trading cards in Steam and then create a badge?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I went through and I sold a bunch of my old trading cards to get Steam currency.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually real money. I don't know why I'm pretending like it's some other mystery currency, but sold a ton of them and just started buying. I didn't spend any actual money on it. It was from stuff in my inventory, and I AAA'd my badge. So I maxed that out in Steam too.
Dang.
I was like, while we're doing this, let's do it right. So I made my badge like however many times you got to do it to get the AAA on it, and then I 100% at the game. I'm
Damn,
done.
that's great. I need to do that selling thing. I have so many so many of those things I could sell, and I just don't.
You don't make a lot of money because it's a lot like, yeah, I'll sell it for 7 cents and then you get like 4 cents off of that.
Yeah.
But you do it enough times, it adds up.
Adds up, yeah. And I've sitting on them forever. I've never done it. So I have tons that are just sitting there. I don't know. I have to look at it. It's kind of like getting tickets in an arcade and buying a spider ring or, a sticker.
It is exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's like I put in so much work and now I can get $1 off on my next video game I play.
What a deal.
Yep. So, yeah, let's talk about UFO 50 and the next 4 games on there. Starting with Mooncat.
Tell me about Mooncat.
I don't like Mooncat very much. Mooncat is like if someone on drugs created a difficult platformer and then said, well, how can we make this platformer more difficult? I know, let's make the controls really stupid.
It's wonky.
So it's like it uses all the buttons, but all the buttons kind of do the same thing, except if you press them in different combinations, they do different things. So like your face buttons move your character to the right. Your control stick or your direction pad moves your character to the left. But if you push both left and right, you do a jump.
I hate everything
but
about it.
But if you put like down on it, you do a slide. It's needlessly complicated.
Is that the reason why it's so short on this guy's video? It's literally the shortest little sliver.
It is obnoxious to play. And the description for this game is it was meant to be the spiritual successor to their first game, Barbuda, or whatever it was, which was another kind of notoriously hard platformer. But at least Barbuda controlled the way, like it was boring-ish, but you were like, oh, this is hard. I got to try. This one just controls really weird, and like everything is dumb looking. Like, I don't know, it's called Mooncat. but you look like something that got its head stuck in a sock.
Yeah, you look like what's the hand in the Addams Family called? It? Not it. Is it it?
Thing. Is it Thing or It?
Thing.
Yeah,
Cousin
Thing.
It is the other guy. So yeah, it looks like just Thing running around. 2 fingers for legs.
I didn't like Mooncat, but I spent more time with it than me saying I didn't like it would suggest.
Right. John's here we're here to do the real work, you guys. Don't worry. He played enough to make a decision on whether it's good or not.
Yeah, it's not my favorite game in the collection, but it's another one where if like I was watching somebody skilled play it, I would be impressed because I'd be like, well, they're putting in some work because this game controls like shit.
It does feel like they have an opportunity here to say we have 50 of these and 1 or 2 of them can be wackadoo for weirdos only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what that's like.
That is what this feels like.
Yeah.
So next is Bushido Ball.
Sweet.
Which is like it's sort of like tennis, but you play as like ninja warriors of some kind, and you
said that with a straight face. I love it. Keep going.
You basically knock the ball back and forth, and you have special powers and like power shots that you can do. And it's very anime-ish, like it's very cool. So like you could do a charge shot and the ball lights on fire and teleports around. But if you walk into the ball while it's in that mode, you have to mash the button because the ball's like pushing its way through you and you have to like fight it off to knock it back the other way. Like it's cool. It's like it definitely feels like an old school like NES tennis kind of game, but with like superpowers and yeah, it's dumb fun.
What's that SNK? There's an SNK game I'm getting vibes from here that's not exactly volleyball, but it's like do you know what I'm talking about? It's like shit, I can't remember the name of that.
Is it the one where you're throwing the disc back and forth?
Yeah, and you can I think if you don't block it right, you it's kind of like this. You got to hit it right or else you're going to have to fight the thing or it hits you if you don't block or something. I cannot remember the name of that game. Oh, not Sunset Riders. That's the cowboy game. I can't remember.
No.
Whatever it is.
Somebody will say it in chat and I'll be like, yes, that was it. But yeah, it does feel a little bit like an early version of that.
Yeah.
Next was a game called Block Koala.
I'm sorry. Block Koala, eh? Okay.
Block Koala.
Right,
it's a puzzle game.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't really tell you anything. So it just kind of drops you in. And you kind of just... So what I quickly learned is that the puzzle is figuring out what the puzzle is. And then also there's like, you know, those pushing puzzles where it's like, oh, I pushed this and now I can't progress.
I hate those. Thank you. Hate them.
It's a mixture of that with additional puzzles you have to solve on top of it. So like the first puzzle, it establishes that like, hey, if something weighs a weight of 5, you can't move it. Yeah. Or something like that. I don't know. I figured out the first puzzle somehow. The second puzzle was you could push one type of block into another type of block and it would make the number go up.
Oh, like what was that game? Threes on phone? Remember how popular that was for a while? And you combine the number 3 and then it'd be a 6 and then a 9 and then
I say yes, but you lost me at phone games, so I don't know.
It was really good. It was like a non-ad supported, no microtransaction kind of game, and it was really popular for a hot minute. This reminds me of that.
This is kind of like that. The one nice thing that they do is you can very easily reset the level, but you can also hit one of the buttons and it just backtracks whatever your last move was. And you can do that as much as you want. So if you're like, oh man, I screwed up about 8 moves ago, you just hit the button and it's just like undo in Photoshop. It's just like, and then you're back where you were and you can do it again.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a little better.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a fine little puzzle game. It looks nice.
Yeah.
It's not as challenging.
Little koala bear looking dude walking around. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Last game I played this week is a game called Camouflage. It's probably my favorite of it. You play a gecko.
Yeah.
Who whatever background you're on, you can press a button and you'll adopt that color and then you'll be hidden. And there are these frogs and things that basically have areas that they hunt. And if you enter that area, you have to be blended into your background or they'll, one shot kill you. And there's items to collect. So far from what I had played, there's 3 per stage. And you have to kind of decide, do you just want to get to the exit? Or do you want to try and collect the items? And obviously the puzzles that you have to solve to collect the items are a lot more complicated than just getting to the exit. And so it's tricky because it's like, well, I have to pick a color to turn into that will allow me to cross the full spectrum of what it is, because you can't change in front of them. So if you're walking on grass and maybe the first tile is grass, but then the next 2 tiles are sand, well, that won't work. You can't cross there because as soon as your grass gecko steps on sand, you'll get seen and eaten.
Oh, okay.
So that's the puzzle that you're trying to solve, and then it complicates as you go, as it adds more predators and objectives in weirder places and stuff like that.
That one looks interesting.
It's good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Yeah.
All right. So of this batch, you said a minute ago, but just to confirm, that's your favorite of this batch.
That's probably my favorite of this batch.
All right.
Bushido Ball was really cool, but it was like, yeah, that's cool. I can see that being maybe more fun 2-player, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
But just against the computer, I think Camouflage was my favorite.
All right. Tell me about Campanella. What the hell's that about?
What? Nope, I'm done. That's 4 games.
Oh, I thought
4 games.
That was just on the video that Scott was sharing.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Sorry. Got mixed up my sources.
Campanella is next week. I'll tell you about Campanella.
All right. Campanella coming up. Bo also played Mobile Suit Gundam Phantom Silver. That's a dumb name.
Yeah. So that's the VR movie, but it is more gamey than I thought it was. I just remembered that I played that, bought it and checked it out this week.
Oh, I'm interested in this. It looked kind of cool.
Yeah, there's so it's a VR thing, and it was touted as a movie, which it is and it isn't. It's a game, like it's in a game world, like watching a cinematic in full 360, and it was okay.
Yeah,
I think. All the reviews on it, people are like, "I love this, so good, so good, so good," and I'm like, "Here we go." People like praising the shit out of VR stuff, just because it's neat that it's in 3D, which it is. I do find like the voice acting, music, and like just overall production to be quite nice, actually. Mm-hmm. And they even do cuts and they do weird perspectives as you're looking, which I really appreciate. Like, there's actually a lot of good ideas here.
Okay.
What I didn't appreciate was like when we actually get to the action, it wants you to play. Like, see how they're showing like kind of these cool cutscenes and it looks all right?
Yeah.
It's like they do a bit of that and then they put you in first person mode. And there's these little mechanics where you either raise your shield or you do the stab, and it's like the dumbest game. Like, just show me the movie. I don't. It's really bad. It's not really well done, and it's even. You're in space. You have full 360 degrees of freedom, and there you are, just doing some weird battle on top of a ship in like a 2D platformer. Like, it's, sometimes when you're going to the next scene, you're in the cockpit, which the cockpit's really cool. And blasting around and dodging asteroids actually feels pretty cool. But at the same time, I just want to watch a movie. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I didn't sign up for a game. I wanted a movie. You're just putting in filler right now.
Yeah, I kind of prefer that too. I like,
because there's lots of games that have the cockpit experience or whatever. Like, I didn't buy it hoping for any of this stuff.
Right
now, what you're showing right now, I haven't played with. There's this AR thing where you can collect Gundam toys and play with each other in them. I don't know what that's about, but it actually looks. It's the first time I'm seeing it. It looks intriguing.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
But from like a storytelling perspective, it has been kind of neat. Except I just don't need the interactives, like using a grappling hook to get into the Gundam. It's just not very well done, so I'd rather just watch the story and just give me the cool stuff. But
I don't know why it's showing this suddenly. Is this is Namco doing this?
Oh yeah, it's a Bandai Namco deal, I believe.
All right, so you and John helping keep those, keep that ship alive.
I'm helping.
Yeah.
I help.
Oh.
I bought
save
games.
more people from the Metis room.
Yeah.
Why are people getting laid off into Metuses?
Yeah. I played some Pac-Man Championship 2 this year.
I bought a Blizzard skin so that they keep their employees, right?
Yeah.
And I bought anime from Bandai Namco.
Yeah. Look at us.
Please don't fire people.
Yeah, don't fire anyone. We don't need it. I mean, according to Mork Myheim, we're having a great year. Mork Myheim.
Pay for that in certain cities.
Hello, China.
That's what they call them there.
Anyways, it was a neat little checkout. More stuff's coming soon, guys. Metro Awakening, very soon. Very soon. And Batman's come out. Actually, I think I might have to check that out. But
yeah, I'm curious about that one too, because
it's a meta only, and that was my other grievance with this thing is, in order to run natively in the headset, 'cause it's only available in the Meta store. Even though I've got the top end Quest 3, it's still not that powerful, and they just in order to ensure frame rate and quality, they kind of got to low res some shit, and it always drives me nuts. It's not they're working with the limitations of the machine. I get it, but there's no option to buy it on Steam and have it run off my video card and get a better experience.
We feel your pain on that. We do.
It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Excellent. Those are the games we played. We'll remind you at the end of the show about all of them again if you didn't hear them the first time. So don't worry about that. In the meantime, That's
a good question.
We have an email, and then we have a phone call. I'll rip through this email first, talktothecore@gmail.com, or you can go to frogpants.com/core. There's a form right there. That works the same. Shannon Richards from New York City wrote in, says, hello, Scott. My name is Shannon. I wanted to compliment you. No one ever does this. I wanted to compliment you on Core 438. Was that our last one? No, 2 episodes ago. Particularly at time code 2 hours and 30 minutes, 25 seconds in. You're discussing the crime scene cleaner program. I think they mean game. Anyway, and when
program.
Yeah, it'll work. And when describing using a power washer to clean a ceiling, John asked, how'd blood get up there? I remember this. And you used the term blood spatter. No L, at least, for this one, because, or the least that I didn't hear, meaning no loss, or no lose, whatever. Most folks get that wrong and call it blood splatter instead of spatter.
You're getting it wrong right off the bat.
Yeah, I did. Well, the bud part.
I love that this is a compliment on how eloquently you spoke, and you are just crashing and burning.
I know why.
The entire thing.
I'm doing it because I don't like compliments, and they make me nervous, and it's making me feel.
We're on hour 4, folks. Hour 4.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens in hour 4.
Anyways, goes on to say this. I didn't know it was spatter until my daughter, a criminal justice major, corrected me while she was in an undergraduate studies.
It's Spanish. You got the Spanish version right.
Undergraduate studies a few years ago. Compliments to you for being in the know. Wishing you and yours well. Cheers, Shannon. Yeah, I knew it was spatter, but the reason I know is kind of dumb. I watched a lot of, I've seen multiple times Dexter episodes. John's totally right. And they call it spatter all the time. And I just get stuck in my head. So I knew it was spatter.
Well, now that said, I also watched a lot of Dexter, and I'm sure I'm guilty of saying splatter. It's just hard for me to see a word so close to a more common word. And
I didn't hear you say that, and I didn't know that was a thing, so I'm glad they wrote in the email, because now I learned that it's blood spatter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked up on that at all.
Yeah,
what did you learn about treatise this past week?
Oh my gosh, people talking about treatise. They would not stop. We got
what's treatise?
It's a word.
You don't remember this from last week?
Treatise.
Yeah.
No, treatise.
Treatise.
Which Scott and I can now proudly go treatise.
Yeah, treatise.
We've had enough people back us up to see.
Look, I'm going to write my treatise on skeletal anatomy. So you can smoke that in your chimbley.
It was nonstop in the YouTube comments. I got a million emails I'm not going to read here. Everybody going, you said it right. It's treatise. Bo's wrong. It's not treatise. He's crazy. It's treatise.
Well, I'm glad we're focused on the important things in the world.
We're really getting down to the nitty and the gritty.
We really, if it's not important, we don't waste time on it.
That's right.
That's right.
The comments
Core.
come in.
Just the important.
Just the important stuff. Exactly. That's our new slogan. We're getting T-shirts made. All right, we got a phone call. 801-471-0462. You can also use it for texts. This is a voicemail from a listener. Yet again, taking Bo's advice when they have something to say. So here you go.
Hey, what's up, Coronel? This is Crush. I'm, following Bo's advice. Right now I'm loading the dishwasher, and he said he wanted to hear what we're doing. Random household activities, so that's what I'm doing. Oh, geez. I was going to the gym the other day, and I'm trying to go later and later because I'm going after work. The gym's full of shit. I'm like, okay, I got to try and dodge all these people. I'm there. It's like 8 p.m. at night. And the gym is like full of high school students. And the first thing that comes into my head is, why aren't you all at home playing video games? Like, what is wrong with the youth today? They're hanging out at the gym. It costs like $40 every 2 weeks to be here. Surely there's a better way you could spend your money. Anyways, I couldn't get the machine I wanted. It was a disaster. I don't know. Just thought you'd like to hear from me. Check you later.
All right. My thinking
All
there.
right.
Love that
Great
call.
phone call. Yeah. And
love
great
that call.
Foley work on the
That
dishes.
is a
Yeah.
top quality call. That scratched all the itches. We had busy doing other things, so distracted by the dishes that I almost didn't pay enough attention to the call itself to hear what it was about. There was a moment where I had to be like, wait, what's he talking about?
Yeah, to catch
I'm
up.
just thinking
Yeah.
about dishes.
Yeah.
What can we say? Kids these days, they love games as a service, and what better game as a service than going to the gym and paying with your gym membership?
Yeah. I also
There
think
is no better battle pass than your local gym battle pass.
they're just looking for girls. That's what I think. I don't know what the ratio was, but yeah, I think there's something to that. I mean, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds do it too, but I think people
Famously, girls love getting hit on it. It's a great place for that. You know?
Well, I don't think they like it, but I still think guys do it because boys are gross. You know?
I mean, if they're young, unwise boys, maybe, but I assume everyone's there to work out.
Yeah, they got to get their meatus,
against staph
pumping up their
infections.
meatus, getting their meatus going.
I think
Talia says in the chat, gym gays are a thing. I believe her when she says that. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you always hear that about places, though. Like, I remember I was a frequenter. Have you ever heard of this place called Chapters?
no.
It's a bookstore that's famous in Canada. Your analog, the whole claim to fame at Chapters is that you could go in like a library and just read whatever the hell you want.
Okay.
No one's going to make you buy a book. If you read something front to cover, if you're there every day, they're partnered with Starbucks. There's always be a Starbucks in the Chapters.
Yeah.
And you can just
Very
go in
Barnes
and read.
Noble.
Does Barnes and Noble have that kind of policy that you can just go in and read all the books?
I mean,
and-
you can. They don't.
I worked at a Barnes and Noble, and never once did they say if
Oh, shit,
somebody's
new
reading
Lord
too
John
much,
Lore.
kick them out. Like
Yeah,
that's
they never
not
did.
something they instructed. So
All right. Well, in Canada, we were a little more like in the 90s, early 2000s. There was a big revolution in retail when you could like go into stores and just hang out and not get kicked out after 10 minutes for being a loiterer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do this here. Although I will give one caveat to this. We had one lady while I worked at Barnes and Noble that was reading magazines. The store closed.
Okay.
We're all standing around her, watching her read magazines, and she's still reading. And so I just started making obnoxious noises right next to her
Yeah.
Like, what?
until she put the
Do something.
magazine down and walked out of the store.
Oh, God. Like that.
Well, it started with, "Hey, I'd love to go home sometime tonight.
Yeah.
Doesn't
not a
closing
noise.
doesn't closing the store sound good?" And then it just turned into me going down there and going, ah, ah,
Yeah.
ah.
And it sounds like a Star Wars beast. I like it.
Yeah,
That's
and-
great. Why were they? I hate when people
so-
do that. Why
So
do they
maybe you can confirm this for me as a Barnes and Nobleite, or whatever, a Barnesy.
Yeah. Barnesy.
Apparently, someone was telling me like, 'cause when I was 18, 19, after work, I would go to Chapters and I'd read books. Back when I was a book reader, I'd just be like, I'm going to get a coffee, go read books in Chapters. I don't have money, so I'm not buying them.
Mm.
And then and I do some writing because I thought I was going to be a writer at that time. And someone then was like, oh, you hang out at Chapters. I was like, yeah. They're like,
You're a chap.
and I was like, what? And he's like, Chapters is where people go to like hook up.
Really?
And I was like, what?
What?
Like, yeah, it's like people go there and like are effing all the time. And I'm like, they're not effing me.
That doesn't make me feel
They're-
good. I've
why-
been doing
what
this
do you
for a
mean?
long time. I haven't met a single person.
Yeah, but where? Like in the self-help section, or where? What are you
So
doing?
I always hear these kinds of things as the years have gone on about some places where it's like people are just, banging like rabbits.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, clearly I'm somewhere on the like desirability scale because it never happens to me. I've
That
been to gyms. I've never been hit on once.
I never saw anybody doing it or even getting up to it while I worked at Barnes and Noble. But I will say, I feel very certain that the myth about being in a bookstore makes you have to poop is true. 100%.
What, that you
true.
do have to poo if you're in there?
Yeah.
I've never had to poo in one. I don't think.
Never.
I have never seen a more massive shit in my life than at Barnes and Noble. I literally made everybody who was a man who could go in the men's restroom go in and look at it because it was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Wow. So girth and
Do you
length
remember? Do you remember that South Park where Randy poops himself up off the toilet?
Yep. Oh yeah.
It elevated above the seat.
Are you
It
kidding
was
me?
above seat level.
Dude, what?
Yes. It
How-
was. It was at least up to. I'm gonna be
How
honest.
is that possible?
I did not get close enough.
That is a concerning amount of shit.
It is insane. But I will also say that that's one off. That doesn't confirm it. That's just the biggest shit I've ever seen in my life. That was at Barnes and Noble.
Was it
Also,
Mountain
as
James?
somebody who
Like,
had to go clean the bathroom every now and then as part of his job, that bathroom was constantly full of people pooping. Always. It was like the most commonplace. Like, I've
Did
worked
you
in
have
a
a
lot of
clean
retail
bathroom?
jobs. No, we had to work hard to keep the bathroom clean because people were in there pooping constantly.
You're kidding me.
It's
I don't understand this. Why is this a
Do you
thing?
think people were using it because they have bad plumbing at home situations, and a bookstore seems chill about shitting?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, there is a myth that bookstores, something about the smell and feel of bookstores makes people poop. It's 100% true. I will believe this forever.
Wow. I don't even know what to say about this.
That's
think it's
your
part
own
of, like,
rabbit hole. You can all go down there. I'm just saying, as somebody who worked in one, absolutely true. People poop in Barnes and Noble a lot.
But was there a general belief prior to this that was a thing? Like you would hear it in town, like, oh man, if you see someone in Barnes and Noble, they're likely gonna have to crap in there. There's something about the place.
I mean, I think I probably shit the most in the chapters because I'd be there reading books. Like chances are at some point you're gonna have to defecate because if you're there for like 5 or 6 hours, you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I mean, still, I had proper bathroom habits and didn't leave the mess John was describing. You know what I mean?
it never happened to me, but I don't know. As a guy who's crapped in a TJ Maxx a fair number of times, I'm a little surprised by not having to do it in there.
Well, that's an interesting observation. So, but on the hooking up front, no, nothing.
No, never saw anybody hook up.
Wild.
Hmm.
All right.
That doesn't
chapters.
mean they didn't do it. I mean, I know plenty of people who worked in theaters that didn't see stuff happen
I
there.
mean, we have a few Ottawa heads listening. Maybe some of them hooked up in the Rito chapters. The Rito chapters was apparently a big hookup place. So,
Well,
let me know.
plus John's the one that told us about gay Denny's, so things can be, there can be a thing. There can be
it can be regional, maybe.
sure. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
perfect sense to me.
and it's like. Anyways, I'm just saying, like over the years, like people like point out like some places are like these massive hookup spots, and you're like, I go there.
Yeah.
I'm not hooking up, so what's wrong with me?
Well, I want to thank Crash, who was doing his dishes, for putting us on this topic, and
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah, it's really gone well here.
See what happens when you do some good Foley work or you listen to the background?
That's right. If
And a
you're doing
conversation
something,
emerges from it.
I
you know?
agree. Bo is right. You guys send in these calls with you doing things in your life. We have another one I'll do next week for somebody jogging, I think.
Just reasonable
Love it.
things, please. Don't anyone get so creative and think I know what I'll do and start like making love to your wife and giving us a call. Like just don't.
Or,
partner.
but if somebody goes
He's
to
not that.
somebody goes to a Barnes and Noble and poops while they do it.
Well,
Chat room actually linked the name. It's apparently called the Mariko Aoki phenomenon, and I decided to look.
what?
Yep, it is.
What? What is this?
Is a Japanese expression referring to a sudden urge to defecate that is felt upon entering bookstores.
There's a Wikipedia entry.
What? Okay.
Hang on,
I thought Metis was weird. This is weird.
This is a good rabbit hole. This is something new.
Japanese
This is new.
expression, sudden urge to
This
go
is the-
upon entering the bookstore. The phenomenon is named after Mariko Oki, a woman who described the effect in a magazine article published in 1985. According to Japanese social psychologist Shuzu Shibuya, the specific causes that trigger the defecation urge in a bookstore is not yet clearly understood. You think? It sounds crazy. Oh my gosh, this is a huge article.
Yeah.
Origin.
Scroll
Well,
this down.
because you want to understand it, and it. I'm telling you, it's real. I can confirm for myself. Almost every time I have gone to a Barnes and Noble, I've had to poop.
I need to go to one. I'm going one this weekend. I'm doing it.
You're gonna go. You're gonna go to a bookstore. How long? Like how long?
Yeah. What's the? You said as soon as you walk in, right? As soon as you enter.
No. Well, no. For me, it was never as soon as I walked in. So
This
I've
says
seen
entering,
some
but-
people say that it's because of coffee, which could have been too. Okay. This is
Give
another
yourself
rabbit
30
hole.
minutes
I don't
in the
want.
bookstore.
I used to work at PetSmart.
Oh wow!
I hated my job there.
So
and
much John lore today.
And I didn't want to. I was living at home at the time, and I told my parents that I hated the job, and they told me, well, you have to have a job. But I was miserable and I was upset.
Mhm.
So I quit the job, but I didn't tell my parents that I quit the job.
Yeah.
Instead, what I would do every day is go to Barnes and Noble, and I would, for my shift, and I would sit and I would do job applications to try and get a job and write, because like Bo, I thought I was going to be a writer, and have a coffee.
I should change the name to the show "Failed Writers Podcast."
Yeah. And because they don't kick you out, I'd sit there with a laptop, fill out job applications, write. I will admit to occasionally there was a little bit of Hearthstone in there, but genuinely I did use it for productive things. But almost every time I was there, I would have to poop at some point. And I do not have the most I don't like going in public restrooms. So if I can hold it, I hold it.
Oh,
and
no.
I couldn't at Barnes and Noble.
Anyone who likes going in there is a red flag, dude. Like, who likes going into a public bathroom? My gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, I did it all
before
every
we
time I
take
went.
Before we take this phenomena too seriously, I want Scott to do his test, and I want to believe in this. Let's also keep in mind this phenomena is coined by someone who's Japanese, and they're a little unusual, not to be racist or anything, because there was also a link to another Japanese phenomenon, which I'm going to post in here, called toilet meal.
What?
Well, click the link. Toilet meal is a Japanese slang term and social phenomenon referring to the act of an individual eating a meal in a toilet room.
Why?
In modern Japan, some people eat alone in bathrooms for various reasons. The common being that they do not wish to be seen eating alone. Other reasons include saving money from eating out, to hide from coworkers in a busy workplace, or simply because they find it more comfortable. Since toilet meals are often solitary and clandestine, others are unlikely to be aware of its occurrence.
Okay.
For this reason, toilet meals were initially regarded as urban legend, but subsequent investigations confirm the phenomenon has relatively widespread.
You need to look at these positions.
Investigations. Somebody knocking on the. You having a toilet meal in there? Yes.
What are you eating? Tuna fish. Get out of there. Okay, I want you to look. I want you,
being seen as lonely.
Look at the positions: sitting position, crouching position, standing position. Off to the side, a little lower. That's amazing. I'd love this.
So as not to give away the fact that you're eating in the bathroom, because that's gross. A lot of people would look at that as incredibly unhygienic.
I would think so.
They might feel
right?
shame if they go to the cafeteria at work.
You get a public restroom, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it would be at work. I mean, everyone, I'm assuming it's like
not great.
Well,
I'm assuming you don't do it at home. You do it in public places.
Right. Pathogens, norovirus, this kind of stuff, food poisoning. You can get that from any bathroom. But they say a lot of it is a fear of being seen as lonely, so they go somewhere to eat alone where nobody can see them doing it. Kind of like
that way you can't be like, oh, let's make up a name. Sorry,
you can label me. It's fine.
I was gonna say John because it's easy to reach name, but I just don't. I want to fictionalize it, and that's just too real. So let's use someone's name in the
Jonah
chat room.
Jonah.
Okay.
All right. Jonah.
So look at that Jonah over there. Nobody's eating with that guy. He must be something wrong with him.
Well, look at this. Look at the meal on that photo. With John, would you eat that?
And maybe nobody's thinking that, but because you're kind of like, feeling like that pressure, you just want to avoid that feeling. So you go to the bathroom.
Would I eat that meal or would I eat in that bathroom?
The lemon soda sour. The looks like some kind of ramen dish. There's some kind of wrapped brown thing, and then a weird cheese looking deal. Would you eat that?
I'd eat it. I don't know if I'd eat it in the bathroom.
Well, I guess that's part of it. You'd have to eat it in the bathroom.
like if I'm sitting down to eat it, sure. If I'm sitting in a bathroom,
what if it's a safe work bathroom, like office work bathrooms? Like if the cleaning staff and stuff, they tend to be like not too bad, depending.
I mean, I'll barely chew gum in there. That's gross.
But you will be eating where somewhere else put their butt meat is and.
No, I wouldn't be good with it even because I didn't like it. It always bummed me out a little bit when I would go into the work bathroom and sit down and the toilet seat was slightly warm. Because then you just immediately know.
Oh gosh,
that someone was there right before
you have someone's heat in your butt now.
Yeah, their butt heat hasn't cooled yet. And that lets you know.
You know what I would hate about eating in the bathroom is that as soon as someone else comes in, assuming it's a shared bathroom, might not be, but if it is, they're gonna hear you chewing. So you immediately have to freeze.
You have to stop chewing. Yeah, you have to lock up, and then you're just shy.
And that seems, well, again, I guess it's preferable to feeling the shame that they feel. And that's
but what if the other person that comes in is a shy pooper? Because I've had this where you're in the bathroom pooping and you don't want to be in there going, blowing up the place. And then the next person comes in and sits down and they're the same way. And you're both just sitting there in the most awkward, quiet silence.
That's me.
Known to man.
It's time. I don't like to make big shitting noises when I'm in there. So someone will come in. I'll be like, you better be quick, because you're not going to beat me at shitting showdown.
Well, to answer everyone's question that's in their head right now, I don't know how core goes 4 hours either. It's a shock to me that we can go this long. Who knows why it does?
That was why it was best when I worked with my best friend, because he's the same way. He's a shy pooper, but I would be in there and I'd hear someone come in, I'd be quiet, and then he would come in and sit down, and he'd be super quiet, and then I'd go, Blake, is that you? And he'd go, yeah. And I was like, oh, thank God. And just blow up the whole bathroom.
Well, I had that friend that would say, I'm about to bear down. He'd let us know. He'd go, I'm about to bear down. I'm like, all right, we know when we're not needed. We'll get the F out of here.
I just hate the smell follow-up when you do get somebody who bears down and you hear the gross noises. And because you can't see it, you actually imagine it is worse than it is, followed by a wave of nauseating shit smell. And it's like...
Yep.
Why do we build bathrooms this way? Can we not build them better?
There has to be a better way.
Yeah, there is. These guys all have bidets in Japan, so maybe that helps somehow. I don't know.
I miss my bidet whenever it's not there.
Nice warm bidet.
I don't like it so much.
Mine's
not
bidet.
warm.
Oh, you don't have a cold one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's very warm in the summertime. Sometimes a little too warm in the summertime, but
Arizona bidets, man.
Arizona bidets are self-heating, let me tell you.
That's
Sometimes
great.
It's a bit much.
I love it.
Who put the kettle on before water squirted up my butt?
Well, this is officially the call that took us the furthest, so big thanks for that in our history.
Thanks, buddy.
Crash, I think was his name.
Yeah.
It's a cool name.
Send your emails to that caller.
Yeah, send it to him. He'll vet everything we do from here on out. Again, he used 801-471-0462, and you are encouraged to make your call while doing something mundane in your life. Nothing weird, but, something like dishes.
It's going to be shitting, given after all that.
It's inevitable that one day someone's going to call from the bathroom.
Just asking for it is getting us in
Just
trouble.
sitting down for my bathroom meal.
Yep.
We just sealed our fate with all that shit.
Yep. Having a freaking summer sausage in the toilet. All right, that's it for us. Quick note, though, we are supported by you guys directly. You love our Patreon, patreon.com/core show. Got some long timers I'd like to shout out because this week nobody new joined. Join up, slackers. Just kidding.
Yeah, this is the episode that's going to sell them, too.
This is the one. This will take us over the top. But I do want to thank Jeremy Pierce, Rolled Guard 2000, and Mark Rickert? Probably Reichert. Rickert? I don't know. Could go either way there, but you guys are all great, and those are some old timey folks who support us. They're not old; they're young people, but they support us on the show.
Long-standing support.
Thank you is the phrase I was looking for and couldn't find. You'll get no commercials ever. You'll get great 4-hour chunks of host content occasionally from Bo. But yeah, we do these host episodes that are really fun to do, and you'll only get those if you're a patron. Plus, video game art in the mail, other cool things. Do check it out over at patreon.com.
We do appreciate that support. And Scott, I thought you put a tweet out the other day saying like we've had like record highs in terms of listenership, right?
Yeah, we're doing real good. Yeah.
Yeah, so even if you're just in for a month or two, or just like you drop a tip, it makes a difference in our lives. We are not millionaires.
No.
So
no.
We do work for tips, and we appreciate all the support.
But we are apparently all failed writers, which is another reason to support the show.
That's right. Although that
I failed writers, but not failed podcasts.
No. Yes. But nobody's got novels. But maybe we will someday. I was looking at this the other day. The guy that wrote The Road and No Country for Old Men. Can't think of his name all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Amazing author. Can't think of his name. Anyway, passed away recently. Didn't have his first big published success until he was in his freaking 50s. And now he's considered one of the greatest American writers of all time. So there's always time, writers. Always.
Arthur Miller said early success was a bit of a curse. Like, probably you shouldn't be good at writing till your 40s or 50s anyway. So live a little before you start writing about stuff.
Oh, there it is. Cormac McCarthy. Duh. Of course that's it. Yeah. And
Henrik Gibson, too. Henrik Gibson's stuff didn't really take off till his 40s, 50s.
Yeah. Wait, Henry Gibson? Steve Gibson.
Henrik Ibsen. No, the Norwegian playwright from the 1800s.
Oh, see, you're an educated guy. Sat around in a Claymore. What was that the name of your bookstore? Not Claymore.
The Claymore.
Chapters.
One of those things is about books.
Yeah, one of them will blow you up if you're not careful.
Oscar Wilde spent years as a socialite telling everyone he's a good writer for years before he actually started writing stuff that turned out to be quite good.
Yeah. All right. So that's
we're in the prime of writing, in fact, John. So maybe
get back to it is what you're saying.
Yeah, fear not. You're still, the success is just around the corner. In the meantime, Grandma's right around the corner waiting to tell us things. So Grandma, pull up the spreadsheet and tell us the games that we played, please.
That's right. My job on this show hasn't ended yet. All right, if you want to know what the games were that were played today, it was Silent Hill 2, Diablo 4, the World of Warcraft, Crime Scene Cleaner, Metaphor ReFantazio, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, UFO 50, specifically Mooncat, Bushido Ball, Block Koala, and Camouflage.
That all sounds like such nonsense, but I love it.
And Bo also watched/played, I guess, Mobile Suit Gundam Phantom Silver.
That's right. On a headset, like a true VR protagonist. Wait.
Yes.
Not protagonist. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Evangelist. That's what you are.
Evangelion. I was an Evangelion.
You were an Evangelion.
Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah.
Or Evangelion, whatever the right way to say it is. Sorry.
And you were a sad little boy whose story was dumb and I couldn't watch all the way through. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. We will be back next week with more, and you could be here live if you want. We start at 4 p.m. on Thursdays. That's Pacific time, 5 p.m. Mountain, and 6 p.m. Eastern. That'll do it for us. For all of us to all of you, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Back to Pokemon Go.
Yep. Back to Pokemon Go.